The right hand lead by Maidana that sticks. Another right hand. Broner goes down for the first time in his career.
More than 2 minutes to go in this round. Anthony Joshua is a composed and ferocious finisher. Watch this.
21 knockouts in 21 wins for Anthony Joshua. The chance with the right hand. Ruiz is staggered at an uppercut, trying to hold on. Strafing right. Ruiz comes to fire back, and Joshua's hurt. Oh, left one goes down. Andy Ruiz caught him with a sharp left hook. Joshua's hurt.
To evade.
Down goes Young on a thunderous left hook.
And that is the vaulting power that we're talking about. Nonito Donaire at this weight class, 118 pounds. Everybody better watch out.
Who the fuck is he talking about?
Oh, great shot from Fury. Terrific right hand.
Oh, and down he goes! Right hand, left hand! And I don't think he's going to get up! I think it's all over! I think it's over! Is he going to get up? Can he get up? Can he get up? He does! Oh my goodness! Somehow Fury has managed to get up!
The contract's been signed for February 22nd. Agree, or you will have a lawsuit on your head. You little maggot!
Another 1-2.
Look at Mayorga. Fights on. Let me tell you, Mayorga, this gets Mayorga into it. He just let him hit him a left hand. Look at him.
Right hand. And look at Mayorga.
Oh, wait a minute. Under hit Brazil so hard. They are feeling it in Brazil. Mamma mia. What a KO.
He clearly landed more power shots, and if Triple G didn't have the chin of God, he would have been knocked the fuck out.
I tell you what, he could have knocked out a racehorse with that left hook.
Right hand up one, and he has to come behind the jab, to get close.
Oh! One punch knockdown. One shot by the young star. This fight is over.
Fantastic fitness levels here from Lewis Whitson here in his last round. Bowman, firing shot. That's it. 15-12 punch combination from Douglas Davies.
Terrific action in the last round, just like there was in the first three.
I feel like you just fucking me with no Vaseline.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes, yes, yes. What is up? What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube, obviously podcast form, iTunes, Spotify, radio, etc. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Gonna be talking all things boxing today, all the news, rumors, fight breakdowns, all that stuff of the week and of the weekend coming up, and almost pretty much a full panel here. I mean, let's be honest here, guys. Like Foogatti's MIA. This is a full panel. Air horns. Me and Rob still need to do a Star Wars podcast, just saying. But we're joined, as usual, by Gary and Dallas. But more importantly, before we get to Gary, Robbie Hearns hasn't joined us for some time. He had the holidays, families, work. Things came up. Plus, he hated me. We had a little beef. We battled. We're good now. We hugged it out, kissed, made up. Rob, how you doing, man?
Won't go that far, but
you wish.
No, I'm good. Full of cold, but as a good solid British Bulldog spirit Brit, I'll get through it. Can't keep a good man down.
That's true.
And all that. Not a lot as far as fights this weekend, in my opinion. Really, a bit. Gary's face. He's pumped for Shields Habazin. I can tell.
No,
but,
Joe Smith.
Oh no, it's Hart and Joe Smith. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, but yeah, hit that thumbs up, share the show, all that usual good stuff. So yeah, let's get on with it.
Gary and Dallas. Gary, what's up, man?
Not only is Joe Smith fighting, but Hector Tanahara's fighting this weekend too.
Oh, shit, Rob, you should have known.
Yeah, like I said, not much happening this weekend.
And Alex Rincon.
Sorry, Gary, go.
It's actually a really, really good weekend. Exciting, loaded week of boxing. In Atlantic City, 2 cards. Claressa Shields, who I guess Rob doesn't care about, is also fighting on Friday. Joe Smith is fighting on Saturday, and then we have a loaded card in the Lone Star State on Saturday. So great week of boxing. Definitely the best weekend of boxing so far this year.
See what you did there.
The funny part is that looking out to the rest of the year going forward, or the next 2 months, it might still be at the end of February or close to the end of February. Let's be honest. I mean, we got Garcia, Red Catch. Woo!
Like you're not hyped for the Paul brother.
Oh God!
Come on now.
I'll be honest. If it was just Farmer Diaz at the top, right, and you put Jake Paul in the co-main and Andrade Keel in the third, I'd be far more optimistic and happy about that card.
Oh, you just don't like the order. You're happy with the fight. It's just the order.
I hate the order because I totally off topic from what we had set for the show. But anyways, if I'm happy that the Jake Paul fight is in the main event, that made me happy. But the Andrade fight as the main event makes no sense to me. And plus the rumor of Tevin Farmer kind of being upset that his fight got pushed because of the Jake Paul fight. Again, rumor.
Yeah,
it's upsetting.
He retweeted someone saying it's a disgrace, but he said, and the guy's tweet was like, because the entire reason I'm tuning in is for Tevin Farmer. No. So I'm like, did he like that? And then I heard him on another channel interviewed, and he said he understands everything. It's business. He understands and everything like that. He might still be pissed, but he said the company line, I guess. So yeah, I'm sure he's doing okay. So
yes. But
I get into feelings too much. You're getting a career high purse. Why do you care where they show it? Maybe they're streaming it on the weatherchannel.com. Why do you care? You're getting paid. Go fight. Why do you care? It's so annoying. Like, just why do you care where it is in regard to the top?
Because other fighters will say, I'm fighting on this platform and X amount of people watched. You're fighting on the Weather Channel.
And beside that point, not just the platform it's on, but in terms of placement, right? Because you had at that point, Gary, I think it's really obvious that the main event should be the best fight on the card, or the biggest fight on the card. One of the two, or both, right?
Or is Andrade doing better numbers than Tevin Farmer?
I'm okay with this little side topic. Do you think Andrade's doing better numbers than Farmer?
I don't know. I mean, they're both kind of, from the detractors, I think they've both got a similar kind of talking point as to why maybe they're not appealing. You know, they're boxers that don't tend to be exciting to watch. So I don't know, but I wondered that because I feel Jojo and Tevin is, I don't know, I want to say the more competitive fight, probably. Not to knock Luke Keeler, but I think Andrade is going to be a bigger favorite in that fight than either of Tevin or Jojo.
And even beside that point, because like you said, like Luke Keeler, I think gets a little bit undervalued in this matchup. I think he's a far better opponent than like Walter Captain Dokwa, for example. A far better opponent than him.
But it's going to be probably a 12-round decision, right?
But not that. But Luke Keeler is not a known commodity. Joseph Diaz has been on US TV for a long time. Showbox, HBO. He's been on a lot of things.
Yeah, how many Americans watched the MTK card when Keeler fought Arias? You know?
Exactly. When, honestly, if you just think from a pure business perspective, Farmer and Diaz are probably your most recognizable names on that card, especially in tandem together, other than maybe Jake Paul, because it's Jake Paul. Yeah. So, both from a competitive standpoint, but also just from a metric standpoint, from my understanding, it would make sense that Farmer Diaz is the bigger fight. But like you said, maybe in their metrics, Andrade has been doing relatively decent numbers for them comparative to Farmer. I don't know. Especially, I mean, I think, for example, like Jamal Charlo, even though his last Showtime card didn't do amazing numbers, historically speaking, is pretty decent draw in terms of TV numbers. Obviously, the Korba fight did really good numbers on Fox. I think in tandem, Andrade and Charlo always being in the news together, there might be some rub-off effect. That he gets attention from Charlo fans, from PBC fans, from more boxing fans because he's more talked about in big matchups. But then again, you got Tevin Farmer in there, Javante Davis. You know, so I don't know. It's just interesting aspect that you brought up there, Rob. I didn't think about it as Andrade being a bigger draw for DAZN in terms of their metrics. But yeah, who knows?
Plus, he's out there. I know Tevin's been calling out Tank, but lately he's kind of said, I'm moving on from that. Whereas Andrade still... I think there's a recent boxing scene of him saying Canelo's fighting old guys coming to the, you know, he's still calling out Canelo. So I don't know.
And I mean, I was obviously in my interview with Eddie Hearn. I asked him like, why can't you make like Andrade Triple G? Why can't you make these certain fights that are in house that are seemingly realistic to make? And he says like, no one wants to fight Andrade. And when he's talking about in-house fights, I tend to believe him because he represents both parties here. So Eddie Hearn's opinion on this matter is far more valid than if you're talking about Charlo versus Andrade.
Yeah, you'd be like, yeah, you would say that kind of,
Yeah, exactly. But he's talking about two matchroom fighters now, and he's saying one doesn't want to fight the other.
Luke Keeler, he's Irish or English?
Welsh.
Irish name, I would think.
I think Irish, I think.
So you have an Irishman and a guy from the Boston area, and you're putting him in Florida, not Boston. Well done, well done, Eddie. Well done. But this is what we were talking about, right? Like this is just that fight. I think would sell well. I mean, well is relative. It would sell better in Boston, where you have a huge Irish population and a fighter from that area fighting on that card, as opposed to Miami.
Oh, absolutely agree with that. I think the only reason it's in Miami is because they want to be in the literal vicinity of the Super Bowl and use their facilities. And I'm expecting that there must be some sort of not deal in place, but let's say I would assume DAZN has bought a lot of ad time either on Super Bowl card itself or Super Bowl event itself or the week of all ESPN, Fox Sports, all the run-up, all the talking heads. I'm assuming DAZN is pinpointing that week as a big week for just to promote the brand. And Andrade Keeler is a relatively cheap card to put on as a free publicity stunt and use it off the back of the NFL's literal facility that they're building.
Cheap as in you would have expected a Jesse Vargas card to be cheap?
I don't understand.
Well, he got like 1.7 or something for Thomas Delorme, right? So
True.
what's Andrade making as champion?
But I mean, Andrade's probably making a decent amount, but I don't think Keeler is. I would assume Jake Paul is making a decent amount, but not what his brother made. I'm assuming Gibb's not making a huge amount either because it's Gibb, like he's not KSI.
I mean, seven-figure Gibber, as he wanted to make the fight.
If they're getting paid 7 figures, I'm quitting the show.
But come on, really, where's those purses?
Really, your payment here is all on Farmer Diaz, right? I mean, they're probably getting the most payout. That's the most expenditure on this card is that fight. Everything else is going to be cheap. And plus, like I said, you're using a facility that is being built that week. I think that in of itself is going to be a cheap production. So I can see why they're doing it.
The worst thing is that you get some casual sports fan who's down there for the Super Bowl and he goes to this fight and his experience of watching boxing is Andre versus Luke Keeler. He'll never watch another fight.
Hey, you got Jake Paul fight before that. They're going to hate boxing well before they get to Andrade.
Luke Keeler beat Arias. Does he have any other wins of note or fight?
No, but that was a good fight. Gary, if you don't remember that fight, I do recommend going back and watching it.
I'll take a look at it. I know he beat Arias. I don't really. This was I'm guessing an Eddie card.
He beat Conrad Cummings. That's kind of a name here, which is
domestic level guy. Yeah, good club level guy.
But yeah. Other than that, really, Gary, not anything that would jump out to you. I'm sure. Let me check.
No. The Aries win was his defining win thus far, and that's the win that got him this fight for sure. And it was a good win. Like I will give him credit. Like that was a fun fight.
It was a good fight. Yeah.
Like a really fun fight. And B, he did look good. I'm not going to say he's going to beat Andrade. I don't think that. But this is a far better opponent or matchup than, let's say, Jamal Charlo, Dennis Hogan. Right? I mean, I think this is a far better matchup than that. Dennis Hogan had 0 wins under his belt. Don't say Jaime Munguia. Gary, do not say that. While Luke Keeler does have an actual win against a top 25-ish guy in Luis Aries.
Plus, Austin Williams is on here, Gary, so what's not to like, right?
Oh, I do like
Emma
Austin
Williams. Dang. I was wondering where he's been hiding. Okay, good.
He's on dates with that ring car girl, man. You know that.
Anthony Sim Jr., Alexis Espino, Ofer Jones.
I like those. I like the 3 prospects you mentioned: Ofer Jones, Anthony Sims Jr., and Emma Williams.
Who's Ofer Jones fighting? I bet you they keep him the hell away from another Texan after his last performance.
All TBA right now.
Okay.
The dreaded TBA.
Just to keep Matt's hopes up right now. Jake Paul and Gibb is still currently pending approval.
Ooh. Let's get to the news of the day because we've been talking about
quick. Okay. Danny Roman and is the better fight on the card?
It's not better than Farmer Diaz, but it's a really good fight.
Is that even going to be televised? Is that even going to be streamed on the main card, or is it going to be the before card?
Well, DAZN is all one thing.
No, doesn't DAZN have like the YouTube one and then like?
They do like the early undercard. Yeah. But they also
prospects will be.
But they also show it on DAZN. Like when it's on YouTube, it's still on DAZN, Gary. Just so you know. So all those are
out for me.
No, I know.
Okay.
They just put it out for me because I speak to the guy that runs the YouTube stream. I always tell him to make it non-geo blocked.
And you're like, do it, do it now.
Come on, man. Be better than all the other ones.
Rob got
the world see it.
Rob got a VPN so he can get DAZN. He doesn't want to do it.
I would if I knew what that was.
If you knew how to do it.
I got no idea. Everyone says, because I always go, oh, geo-blocks, the good one. Well done, PBC. Why don't you let people see the product kind of thing? And people go, oh, just do a VPN. And I go, yeah, okay. I don't know. What? I don't know how you do that. What is that?
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, exactly. That has become just a legit trending comment now by everyone on Twitter.
Okay, boomer. So good. Let's get to the news of the day before we get to the fights of the weekend. Let's get to the
topics. That's right. I forgot.
We did have topics. I
wasn't even on the list.
Actually.
Let's get to the whole Terence Crawford, Errol Spence back and forth on social media. Let's say, right? Social media. That's how you would say it on Twitter. And I mean, this is quite a bit here. I'll start from the top. Dramatic music, Rob? Dramatic music? Yes.
Oh, really?
Whoa. I'm offended.
Well, you can be. I don't. I've grown so tired of this fight and the possibility of it getting made.
Save your hot takes for a second.
Okay. Yeah, dramatic music.
Let me get the dramatic music out. Come on, Rob. Come on. Errol Spence says on Twitter, y'all can believe the bullshit if you want. I'll induct nothing. Letitia Crawford, who I'm assuming is related to Crawford, his wife, maybe. I don't know.
It's his sister, no? I think.
Is it his sister?
I think so. I'm not sure.
That would make sense.
Someone speaking on Bud's behalf, like the video.
Saying, make the fight then. Shrug emoji. And Spence says, it goes both ways, missus. Adding the missus. Some spice. Crawford responds, so what's been the holdup, homie? When I came to the division, all y'all said I had to get the towel first. Now you change your mind and talking about wrong side of the street. Now I'm just hearing another excuse. What's up? Spence, I'm ready when you're ready. Matter of fact, I've been ready before I even had a 147-pound fight. Like I've been said, you got those people fooled, but not me. Whenever you get back right, I'll smoke you. All you gotta do is sign the contract next and I'm on your head. Keep defending him because... Man, it's Terence Crawford just ranting here. Keep defending him because I tell all y'all now, I mean what I say when that day come. When I knock him all, I want all y'all to keep that same energy because you're going to cry in the car. He wasn't built for this shit. I got over here. Just watch me show the world. And stop using the fucking promoters, managers, and advisors for that weak-ass excuse y'all doing. They work for us. Y'all dumb motherfuckers, if you really want to fight, you tell them I don't give two fucks, that's who I want to fight. Let your nuts drop. You say your own boss. Spence responds, it sounds good, only time I hear you shit is social media, which is so true. Don't act like a boss now, like he don't handle his own shit. We've been told you, handler Bob, what it take to make it happen. I don't choke off smoke, dude. Crawford, what you mean? I told you to your face what it was. Like I said, you're the one running behind this wrong side of the street bullshit. You could have been said, let's fight. You've been ducking. Heal up. I said when you come back, I'll get you ahead when you're ready. Spence responds, fight not gonna get made on here. Side eye emoji. Crawford responds, you're right. I'm gonna call you right now. Pick your phone up. And then half an hour later, Crawford says, Spence is a cool dude on some real shit. We both agree. The fight will happen. I have so many negative thoughts about all of this.
For once, I'm with you, but I normally don't like the negativity. But
who wants to rant first? Gary, Rob, me? Who wants to take the baton?
I don't have a rant like y'all do, so I'll let y'all go first, and I'll just sit here and observe.
Gary done 2 very Texan yells then.
First off, Gary ranted a lot yesterday, so I understand he's a little bit ranted out. I get that. Look, similar issue I have with Crawford's video we talked about yesterday, right? His call-out video with his friend. Crawford has huge moments. Benavidez fight. His last fight with Kavalauskas. In front of 1 million plus people, 2 million plus people against Benavidez. When he's asked, who do you want to fight next? And he says, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Talk to my boss. We'll get it done. We'll get it figured out. And the most nonchalant, I don't give a fuck attitude I've ever seen in my life. And I'm the king of I don't give a fuck attitudes. And then he decides, I'm going to take my friend, calling out everyone in the most corny, semi-disrespectful, but still respectful bullshit I've ever seen in my life. He comes on here ranting and raving about Spence. Then he calls him and says, you know what? Me and Spence are tight. We're cool. And he does this all on social media, and Spence is right. He has, Crawford's not keeping the same energy when he's in front of the camera, in front of millions of people. He has the opportunity to really push for that moment in that fight, and he doesn't. He never takes that opportunity. But you're going to tell me you're going to sit here on social media and rant and rave about Spence and the other side of the street, and that's going to give you the fight? Please, save it, Crawford. Save it, Crawford fans. He needs to get on the mic post-fight all these times in the last year or two and say the shit he just said on social media. Say all the shit his buddy said. He doesn't. He doesn't keep the same energy. And I know, I've been wanting to say, keeping the same energy is kind of overrated sometimes. But look, when you're Crawford and that's kind of your MO to be that dude, then you got to be that dude 24/7. And he's not being that dude 24/7. Only on social media. And even then, even on social media, he's still doing corny shit. Come on, man. Rob, Gary.
It's both of them are doing corny shit. I'm sorry, it's just.
But I would say that Spence is consistent corny. I'm fine with that. You don't want to fight Crawford? You've been consistent saying you don't want to fight that guy. You've been consistent in avoiding him. You've been consistent saying, nah, I'm doing my own thing. I'm cool with that. Because at least you're being honest with me. At least you're being honest with yourself, with your fans, with everyone. Crawford's not being honest here.
I mean, look, the final one saying, he's a cool dude. We spoke and we both agreed the fight's going to get made. We are no further forward with this fucking fight than we were before they started tweeting. Let me tell you that. If they even had a fucking phone call, I'm bored of it. I don't even care about this fight. Just let me know if it gets made now. I'm sick and tired of Spence-Crawford shows, talking points, the Twitter back and forth between Spence fans and Crawford fans. I ain't particularly a great fan of either. And I don't know. It's tedious now to me, this whole thing. Just get on with your careers. Unfortunately, Terence made a mistake, in my opinion, and stuck with ESPN. And he's going to have to now fight 140-pounders being pulled up to him. So, I don't know. You kind of made your bed and I'll lie in it. But if you're now suddenly trying to make these fights, then great. But like Matt sort of said, Errol's kind of been like, I'm doing my own thing. I'm doing this, that, and the other. I hate the whole wrong side of the street thing because Fury and Wilder have
figured it out.
Now got a rematch with a rematch, so it can be done. So there's no reason why this one can't be done. But to me, there's probably not enough money in the fight yet for it to be made. Otherwise, it would be made, in my opinion. But I don't know. It's getting dangerously close because Crawford's not getting old, but he's tail end of probably his prime. And I don't know. I think, and is Spence the same guy that he was? Who knows? I don't know. I mean, the one where he said misses, maybe that's just something wrong with the teeth or something. I don't know. But I don't know. I'm just sort of skip me with all this now. Just let me know if it gets made.
Gary?
Okay, so I am a fan of both these guys, a big fan of both these guys. I mean, again, does this get us any closer to a fight? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, did they actually have a conversation? Is this something that they both want? This is the biggest money fight for either of them. Okay, this is a bigger fight than Porter. It's a bigger money fight than Thurman. It is because of the two guys together. These are two guys now that have a pretty mainstream following to some degree, right? Together, they could sell a fight. I think this fight could do 500,000 pay-per-view buys. He
Easy.
ain't doing that with any other dance partner. Maybe Pacquiao. Probably Pacquiao.
Oh, absolutely Pacquiao. I mean, that's not maybe. Absolutely.
Keith Thurman did $500,000. Is that what they did?
I know the initial report was $500,000. I think there was a report afterwards that said it was a little bit lower, but
slightly tapered down, I think. But yeah,
it's still, let's say, mid 400s at least.
Yeah, I think
Pacquiao ain't fight either one of those guys. Let's be real. So this is their chance. This is their legacy fight. You win this fight, you're the best fighter of there's still Canelo, but
your generation, of your generation at your weight class, which matters.
Wait, sure, absolutely. So like, this is it. This is the biggest fight for you guys, and I think that they can sell it. They can do it. Both guys have been on their share of radio shows. Crawford's got to do better. Spence doesn't do great, but if you really push Spence, you can get him to talk. Crawford doesn't. He's got to sell the fight better. But I mean, maybe if they both want the fight, then it'll get made. But if one doesn't, it's not going to get made. And for me, I always thought that was kind of Spence. Like, I don't need to take this fight. I got other options. But if Crawford keeps doing this, I think Spence will take the fight.
I'll say this and add something that you said yesterday, I think, Gary. Plus, we have Sean Porter out there saying that he wants to fight with Crawford.
Crawford should say this. Right now, I'm trying to get a unification fight with the two top guys. He got the decision over you. If Spence don't want the smoke, I got you. That's what Crawford should say right now.
And I think a Crawford-Porter fight does very well.
But Crawford doesn't want Porter. We talked about that yesterday. It's the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Like, that guy's tough, and the purse isn't that great. Nah, I'll chill on that and wait for Pacquiao.
But here's the thing. All of his purses are great anyways.
But it's no better to fight Porter. You know what I'm saying?
It's better than a Khan fight. He's going to make more money than the Khan fight for sure. Than the Kavaliauskas fight. He's making more money against Porter. He has to. It's a bigger fight.
Kavaliauskas should have been a sparring session. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I mean, I can do that and then go fight someone else in the afternoon. You know what I'm saying? That's not a test. Porter obviously is. I think he beats Porter. I know we disagree on that. But that's a hell of a fight. I mean, Porter's going to put him through.
And what I'm saying is I think the money is there. I think the money is there for these fights. And if the money is not there, it's very fucking clear these networks don't give a shit about losing money. DAZN, Fox, ESPN, they don't care. They don't care on these big events. They're loss leaders in their eyes. Am I wrong on that? Like, Wilder Fury gets made, they don't care at all if that shit makes money. They don't. Because obviously their standards and threshold for success is so high, they clearly understand they're not going to meet that threshold, so they don't care about it making money. It's a loss leader. Okay, Spence Crawford, like you said, Gary, is a massive fight. Okay, it's one of the few fights that does actually take over into the casual sporting audience in terms of interest. It does. Okay, with the right push, it does even more so. So I think it's a loss leader, even if it doesn't make money. So you have to make it. And the age of loss leaders kind of being the norm, there's no excuse to not make this fight. Am I wrong in that assertion? Gary, Rob, that the argument of there's not enough money for this fight, I feel like is not a good enough argument for their side. I know Robbie made that point, but for them to say that PBC or Top Rank, you can't make that argument because you're making fights that are not making money, that are loss leaders, and this is one of them.
I just think that maybe they think it could be more, so why do it now? If you know what I mean?
The margin of loss can be less.
Whereas other fights, maybe they felt, how much bigger can this one get? If you know what I mean.
Like Wilder Fury, for example.
Made a lot of pay-per-views. And how much bigger could Thurman Pacquiao have got? I think it was now or never kind of thing. So, but I think Errol and Bud could be, although it's shit like this that will probably do it. it'll possibly make it bigger than, you know what I mean?
So you're thinking like PBC or ESPN are thinking if Crawford or Spence beats, the Dannys of the world or Sean Porters of the world or Pacquiao's of the world, and all of a sudden it becomes so much bigger for these guys to meet down the line in a year.
I don't know about. I think maybe they feel that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe it, but I think it's got to happen by the end of this year or beginning of next. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't know, because Crawford's then
we're getting close to that
corner of when's Father Time sort of going to catch up, kind of in that ballpark. I'm not saying he's there, but I don't know.
At least, I mean,
the whole. He was a bit older than he should. He wasn't in his prime, blah, 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 and then it's just like, well, we've missed the boat again, kind of.
And guys, I have at times I've kind of pushed back on that narrative that Rob was bringing up about, hey, like sometimes these fights don't get made. Adonis Stevenson, Sergey Kovalev, like that's a very recent one we can bring up, an example of a great fight, great unification, one to make an undisputed champion, just didn't get made. Let's not have Spence-Crawford end up like that. And I do agree with Rob on that timetable, that it kind of needs to happen the next 18 months, maybe 2 years. Otherwise, that window seems to maybe have been missed to some degree.
Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder didn't get made. Now Joshua is going to lose to Usyk, and Wilder's going to lose to Tyson Fury. So if it does happen, it's like, who cares? When we had a chance to make it for the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, everybody balked.
If we get Tyson Fury, Ogden Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world instead of AJ Wilder, I'll be upset.
It's not. It doesn't have the same. It doesn't have the same luster. I mean, like,
it happens. If you're not good enough, you're not good enough.
That might be worse than like the Andy Ruiz Luis Ortiz matchup we were all making fun of. Right, that could happen if Wilder lost the Ortiz rematch, and if AJ lost that fight would have at least been fun.
What about this fight, Matt? Just for a heavyweight fight, Usyk versus Luis Ortiz. That's high level heavyweight boxing.
Usyk wins that, but digressing. Moving on.
How can you say that? He got touched up by Chaz Witherspoon. Mr. Average 3 punches landed.
CompuBox is a lie. Okay. I'm going to sit down one of these days and watch that fight again, and I'm going to count myself how many punches landed.
You're just going to add shit just to go with your narrative. Everything landed. Everything.
everything. 100 punches around.
Hey, I knew I was right.
Moving on. Speaking of heavyweights, though, and Usyk, actually. Usyk fighting for that vacant WBO belt seems to be likely. Obviously, we've been talking about it for some time. But who he's fighting for that vacant belt might be an aspect of conversation and debate. Joseph Parker, who is now ranked number 2 at the in the WBO rankings, and his promoter, I should say more specifically, or one of his promoters, because he's co-promoted now by Matchroom and Duco Promotions. Dave Higgins said that we want the fight with Usyk, that it would be a part of like history repeating itself. We fought Ruiz for the vacant belt, blah 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 blah. And obviously, we do know that Eddie Hearn has been talking about the Chisora fight with Usyk for some time now. So, guys, thoughts on what the hell is going to happen here with Usyk and the WBO belt? Because I think even though it hasn't been said yet, I think we can assume AJ Pulev happens and he gives the WBO belt, and it's going to be Usyk versus somebody. Parker, Chisora, more than likely. So, guys, thoughts on what's next for Usyk? What would you like to see? What do you think is realistic and most likely to happen? Thoughts, Rob?
Yeah, I think the Chisora fight's nearly done for Usyk next. But as far as the WBO bout, I think Eddie recently spoke. I think he's written to both sanctioning bodies regarding like the IBF and the WBO. He's trying to get a resolution where the order is established. They're not both calling them at the same time, or one will sit back and say, look, I think his point is valid. I said, look, I know they don't care, but it's like you're doing everything in your powers to prevent us getting a like undisputed heavyweight. It's against like the sport kind of thing. So can we not work together or whatever? So I don't know what's going to happen. Joshua recently seems to be bringing up about dropping one of the belts, like he's going to have to maybe possibly deal with it. He's initially said, I don't want to drop any of them, and this, we'll make it happen. And lately there's been a lot of AJ, if I have to vacate, if I have to do this, if I have to do that. So I don't know whether there's no resolution coming or whatever, but I think Usyk-Chisora will be made for, I believe it's going to be in Manchester, March time. I think there's a.
And you think that, let's say in the world where WBO belt does get vacated or stripped or whatever it may be, that fight gets named as for the vacant belt and Parker gets looked over? Which could happen.
Like Parker's apparently slated to return in February, which suggests to me he's on the Mikey Garcia card.
They've been talks about that, yes.
Which also Gassiev is supposed to be on, by the way. So I don't know if it's Parker Gassiev for some heavyweight debut for Gassiev, but he's been out for nearly 2 years, and Parker's been out with the spider bite. But whatever.
I forgot about the spider bite.
Yeah, I'm starting to.
Hey, spiders in Australia are dangerous. Okay.
Yeah, but so yeah, again, I don't know. I think if anyone could possibly make it Usyk-Chisora next for the vacant WBO bout, it would be Eddie Hearn.
To finesse it, yeah.
But either or, if it's Chisora, Parker, Usyk, it's kind of matchroom. You know what I mean?
I understand. Before I jump to Gary, do you think one fight's better than the other? Like ignoring all of the machinations of the belt and the sanctioning bodies and the politics of how we got here, do you think Usyk-Chisora, Usyk-Parker, which fight do you think is a better fight?
I don't know. I think Parker's, since losing to AJ and White, hasn't set the world alight with any kind of performance, whereas Chisora, yes, albeit maybe lesser, opponents. There's a
low 3-fight win streak.
Yeah, there's like I don't know, a good win behind him, if you know, like and like a sort of a good feel of support for Chisora. He's always going to be. Let's be honest. Do you want to see a Usyk-Chisora press conference or a Usyk-Parker press conference?
I absolutely want to see a Usyk-Chisora press conference more, but I do agree with Lunatic in the chat saying Parker is the better fight. I think Parker.
Yeah, he's I'd say the better boxer and the better fight. I think it'd be.
I'll put it this way: if it wasn't for a belt, right? If the belt's not on the line, I like Usyk-Chisora more because I think Usyk does need a couple more fights before he gets to those top guys. But if it's for a belt, I think Parker Usyk makes more sense.
Look, I'm going to go off my own thing. Like, Dillian White's number one. It shouldn't have been Brazil for the thing, So Parker's number 2 or whatever he is in the rankings. He's more deserving than Chisora. So, I'm going to keep that same energy. But we know how these things work. It doesn't necessarily mean the next guy in line gets the shot, right? So.
Also, if we can somehow get Dylan White versus Usyk instead for the vacant belt, I'd rather prefer that, but that's beside the point. Gary, thoughts on Usyk? I know you're a huge fan of Usyk. You think that he's going to run over every heavyweight. So thoughts on these two matchups? What would you prefer? What do you think is actually going to happen?
I mean, we can say, okay, let me start there. I would rather Usyk-Chisora from a fan's perspective. Right? Just if I had to watch a fight, I'd rather have Chisora because at least there's a chance Chisora might knock him out at any point, right? Because Usyk's going to have to outbox him and get in and out on him, and he's never really going to be hurting him, but he's going to be winning every round. When he's not hurting him, he's not breaking him down, that means Chisora's still fresh. And Chisora's got cracks. He can put him away at any point. That's always going to be there. That's you're always going to be on the edge of your seat saying, okay, can he keep getting out of dodge? Because it takes one shot for Chisora to end this. You don't have that with Parker. You don't. Parker's not really going to knock him out. Maybe, I guess, in, a miracle, and then he rides his unicorn to the moon, right? But it's not really going to happen. So he's just going to get outboxed, right? Parker just gets outboxed by Chisora, and it's not a fan-friendly, entertaining fight. It doesn't have that suspense where, oh, Chisora's just missing with that right hand. If he hits it, this game is over, right? Like, there's no suspense in the Parker fight. He just gets outboxed and loses every round. Chisora, like, it's like a Wilder fight. Like, well, he's not out of this fight because he's still got that power and he's still fresh. So I'd rather have this Chisora fight. I don't think really either of them are that deserving of a title fight. Chisora's got a 3-fight winning streak, so I'm going to take the other side of the coin. I'm going to say Chisora's more deserving of a title shot. That's why all those things considered is why I think it's going to be for the WBO title, and it's going to be Joseph Parker because he's less deserving and it's a less entertaining fight. And that's how boxing works. Worst fight possible.
I kind of agree with Gary. Like,
I love Gary's logic there. Just to reiterate that, because it might have been confusing for some of our listeners. Gary's thinking is that because it's boxing, and boxing sucks at times, even though Usyk-Chisora is the better fight in his opinion, we're going to get Usyk-Parker because that's a less fun fight. And I understand it. That's boxing. That does happen sometimes.
I mean, look at like Chisora Takam. He was
such a good fight.
Losing every fucking round of that fight, and then found that overhand right from Hal twice.
and not just losing every round, too. Getting beat.
Oh yeah, he was doing the worst version of the rope-a-dope I've ever seen. So, I think Ali didn't get as hurt as Chisora was getting, but he just then found that, I think that element of danger there. I kind of agree with Gary that maybe that element of danger isn't there with Parker, because I don't know, I've for a while now just felt that Parker just hasn't got any kind of like dog or spite in him. I just think he's like kind of a nice guy that's kind of like, putting on some boxing gloves.
He had a really good performance against Dylan White. He just didn't win it. Like, that I think was a dog performance. I mean, he came back at the end, knocked him down, right? Like, that was a really great performance from Parker. It was what we wanted to see, a more aggressive Parker from the AJ fight, right? And he did do that. He just lost in a very close competitive fight. And guess what? When you're the 8th best heavyweight in the world, you're going to lose to some guys. You're going to beat some guys. Like, that's just the way it is. And I think, like Gary said, we don't have that power, even more so. It makes it much harder to get yourself out of those spots where you're losing fights because you really don't have that pop. Even though he hurt John White, it's not like you really put him out. He just hurt him and knocked him down. White got back up and made it. Parker is one of those guys that is high-level mediocre, if that makes sense. He's high level basic, I think is how Santiago described Joe Smith Jr.
Basic. But Gary, it goes Usyk #1, Parker 2. This is WBO, by the way. Kalnaki, Ruiz Jr., Dubois, Junior Farr,
huge dip.
Hunter.
Oh, that's better.
Romanov, Chisora at 9. Zhang, and then we're going into the likes of Schwartz, Fujimoto still in there.
Shout out to Fujimoto.
Hrgovic is 4. Imagine a world where Junior Farr is number 6 and Filip Hrgovic is 14th.
That guy Schwartz was drastically worse than Otto Vaylin, and Otto Vaylin should not be anywhere near your top 15. So, what Schwartz is ranked again based on what? Being awful?
Dude, Fujimoto's on the ranking. Did you see him against Dubois?
I did. Fujimoto versus Schwartz. Who you got?
Schwartz.
Oh.
I got Schwartz. Don't get me wrong. They're both in the top 70. They're both in the top 75 of the division.
Maybe.
Not maybe. They are.
I don't know about that. Not now.
Oliver McCall.
Oliver fucking McCall, the legend. Let's get into this DAZN article from Thomas Hauser a little bit. Because, really, it's ground we've covered a lot. That's why we don't need to go into a lot of this and really don't need to debate a lot of this. There's just some key things I want to point out, and then we'll discuss and then go on to other topics.
Very quick, just to back you up, Matt. Tom Schwartz is currently number 61 in the world.
On BoxRec?
Yeah, I guess he's like number 7 in Germany.
Number 7 in Germany.
Very quick. I know you done Kalnaki report yesterday about Brazil.
Yes.
just be aware that magically in the WBA rankings, Christian Hammer is number 6.
Yeah, I saw you say that.
And,
I hope not. No.
There's a Boxing Scene article that he's also in the running for the Kaunaki fight, but Brazil is leading the race of 3, and Hammer's one of the other the other 2.
Let's not bring up a possible Wanaki Hammer Fox main event because I will cry.
Okay.
Rob, you know me. My blood pressure cannot sustain that.
It'll be right.
That is so much worse than the Areola fight. I cannot even get into it. I saw you. I think made a tweet about that before we did the show. I was like, nope. Satan, no, go away.
Got the crucifixes.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. No, get out of here. But back to this Thomas Hauser DAZN article. What's happened to DAZN Part 2? I'm just going to read a few excerpts from it because it's a huge article. And again, a lot of it is stuff that we've covered. Quote from this article: one industry source says that an early DAZN financial model anticipated that the streaming service could have as many as 3.5 million subscribers in the United States by the end of 2019. Another well-placed source says that DAZN now has roughly 8 million subscribers worldwide, and approximately 800,000 of these are in the United States. Obviously, if that is true, huge mark that was missed in 2019. DAZN has telecast 3 Canelo Alvarez fights, blah, 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 blah. The retention rate for viewers who signed up for DAZN at the time of each of these fights has risen from fight to fight. DAZN ends 2019 with approximately 20% of its subscribers on an annual plan. I think that's all really good news, that you see a positive change, positive growth from fight to fight, and you have a 20% rate of your subscribers attached annually. I think that's positive news overall. It's common for the company to get into business knowing that it will lose money while establishing itself. On July 8th, 2019, Bloomberg.com reported that DAZN had lost. Rob's sending stuff in the chat, I think, because it moved. You did, right? Okay, it freaked me out there for a second. On July 8th, 2019, Bloomberg.com reported that DAZN had lost $627 million worldwide in 2018. That's bad.
I hate it when that happens.
I hate when I lose over $600 million in 1 year. It's
Yeah,
worst.
worldwide as well. You got to go looking for it. And shit.
That was good, Rob. One can put a smile face on this number by noting that the negative cash flow of Netflix in 2019 is estimated at $3.5 billion. But obviously, Netflix has built a colossus, and at the moment, DAZN's brand in and of itself is worth relatively little. I do like the whole hey, Netflix coming up to DAZN saying, hey, that's a nice debt right there. Hold my beer. I got this. With $3.5 billion, but I will say $627 million in debt, so to speak, or losing $627 million in 1 year, significant. Definitely on the level of that PBC loss that was talked about for some time, and that definitely affected how they ran their corporation and their operation for some time.
Is that just from Len Blavnik's pocket, though? Is it?
Yes, but we're going to get to a part of Len's aspect of Len Blavnik and sort of his investment. Next part, actually. That pit no longer seems bottomless. Midway through 2019, there was industry talk that Len Blavnik was unwilling to put any more of his own money into DAZN. On October 24th, Bloomberg.com reported that Goldman Sachs was trying to raise $500 million in private investment on DAZN's behalf. In November, the ante was up to $1 billion. So, we reported on that, I think, a few months ago, right? Obviously, in October, when that news came out. And you see that Len Blavnik, I think, is clear that he's done losing money. And they're trying to get investment from other sources, a la Goldman Sachs. Due to that year in 2018, you see 2018, they lose over $600 million. And then the next year, 2019, they're looking for $1 billion in investment, or $500 million to $1 billion in investment. Significant. A Also, John Skipper, came in with the idea that he could make DAZN the ESPN of streaming video. The network's plan were summarized by Executive President of North America, Joe Murkowski, who in October told Sports Business Journal, quote, "Our strategy in the United States is to use boxing as an entry point to establish ourselves in the market, make a lot of noise, and generate a transactional relationship with a large audience of boxing fans. If we're successful in doing that in the next 12 to 18 months, we'll put ourselves in a fantastic position to make aggressive plays for a domestic top 3 rights package when they come back to the market." Now, that is all of the major sort of excerpts from this article that I found interesting. I thought maybe either any of us could discuss on the show, or just I want our audience to be made aware of some of these things. But again, some of this is stuff that we've covered in the past. Gary, Rob, any comments on any of Thomas Hauser's part 2 on his sort of huge expose on DAZN and whether or not it's viable long term? Gary?
It seems to me that it's not viable, but I don't know. Like, I don't know how, like, especially like tech companies, I don't know what we're considering DAZN at this point. Never ever make a profit, but they're all billion-dollar companies. Like, if you look at Philips, right, like the televisions, they've never had a year where they've made money. How's that possible? You know what I'm saying? Like, this doesn't make it, and it's always with tech companies. I don't know how they are able to cook the books like this. Especially DAZN can cook their books because they're private, right? But like companies like Philips can't because it's publicly traded. So how are you able to justify, I've never made a profit for all these years, but I'm still in business? I don't know how bad that is, how bad the books are cooked. I don't know. But just telling me that I've lost this much money, I don't know how they get out of that. And again, I know they can sustain it for a while because they have so much cash, but why do you want to keep sustaining a loser, right? Just like as a stock, if something's a dog with fleas, you got to sell it. You got to just cut your losses and say that this isn't what I thought it was.
I mean, I'll say this. Like you said, like you prefaced your comment with my answer. Like, tech companies and companies overall right now are operating at huge losses, and they're seemingly getting by. How is that possible? I don't know. Like, I'm not a corporate expert here or an economics professor. Like, I'm just not that guy. But what is clear is that they're losing money. They're looking for outside investment. But then again, that is the norm now in companies in this space, right? I mean, Thomas Hauser does a really good job of like comparing it to like Amazon in like the 90s and how they didn't, make money, as Gary says, for a very, very long time. They went public in 97, didn't see a profit till like 2005 or 6, something like that. So companies operate at huge losses for very long periods of time if there's investment, right? I don't know why, as Gary says, if these investors are losing money, why they keep investing, but they do, Gary. It's a weird paradigm we're living in right now. We're like Netflix is in $3.5 billion in debt right now. Billion with the B. That's massive. But it's also such a huge colossus, so imagine that company folding. I think maybe it's just a huge, giant tech bubble that is still here. I remember there was huge talks about the tech bubble bursting like maybe 5-10 years ago, something like that. But maybe that bubble really didn't burst, and we're still in a huge tech bubble. And it's even maybe the tech bubble's evolved. I don't know. But clearly, DAZN is at a stage where losing money doesn't matter to them, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I don't know. Depends how you view it. Quickly, for Ben Media, a.k.a. Lazy Lefty on Twitter, saying, "Here come the UK trolls." What up, Matt, with the super chat. Thank you, for Ben Media and Lazy Lefty. He's saying comparing Netflix and DAZN or Amazon DAZN isn't a good comparison. Well, it's not a good comparison now, but we're comparing companies that are decades into their operating,
Why are those not good comparisons? I mean,
because
compare 12 months in, 15 months in.
Do you know Netflix numbers 12 months into their operation? I don't.
But I'm saying it compared to Zone and see where Netflix was 12 months, and compared to Netflix.
No. That is absolutely fine. I think often people compare them now, and that's a very hard comparison to do because Rob has brought this up a lot. That it's every company is going to lose money in their first operating years. I mean, that's a common defense for the Zone, and it's a good defense for the Zone. Yes, that's absolutely true. I just don't know Amazon. I know Amazon was losing money for their first decade plus of operation. So this isn't the alarm bells for the Zone as a whole are not up for me because we've talked about them being successful in other markets. It seems right, and even Hauser says in his article, look, the Zone can operate as a niche streaming service in the U.S. and have be big in other markets and be a huge company and make millions and be fine long term. If that's what they're trying to do. If they're trying to be a huge mainstream entity in the U.S. and failing at that, then that's where you lose a lot of money, right? So I don't know. To get back to the whole Amazon Netflix comparison, I just think it's hard to compare them now, a modern Amazon Netflix, and I'm not well versed enough in old school Netflix metrics and what numbers they were doing in terms of revenue. Other than they were probably losing money. Rob, I know you've been a little bit silent on this topic.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, just interesting points. I guess I just feel it's just very early days. Now, I don't like you guys were saying, to us, it seems like the worst business in the world. Why would you run with all this? But I don't know. You speculate to accumulate, I guess. But I think the big year is coming up, 21 or whatever, with the other big sports rights coming up, becoming available. So I don't know. I don't know. I seem to get the DAZN Defender tag, but I don't know. It just seems like a lot of people are ready to I don't know, not let it do its thing. They want it to not. I don't know. It's weird, but I just sort of think they're just a new thing coming in, and like you said, you're gonna have to throw a whole heap of money at it to get it up and running. Otherwise, I mean, look, they entered the market with boxing. Whether people think that was a good idea, but it's not like they could come in and say, look, we've got every NFL game, because those rights weren't available. So they came in with boxing, and we know, despite our bubble, and we think the whole world revolves around boxing, but when we actually try and look from the outside looking in, it's like this minute part of the world's entertainment. There's only I think I said it before, you look across Showtime and Fox and back in the day with HBO, there seemed to be I don't know, within a million sort of US, kind of whether it's, X amount of hardcores, a certain amount of fairly regular kind of casuals, and then full casuals. Now, depending on the fight, you're looking at, I don't know, 1 million would perhaps buy a pay-per-view. But normal fights, the viewing figures, it seemed to be in a ballpark. There's only so many kind of boxing fans. Now, if you're a DAZN subscriber, you're basically buying it for boxing, right? You're not. There's not really much else on there, right? I don't think the recent darts tournament over here in the UK was a big draw for Americans to I'm going to get DAZN. They've got the World Championship darts. You're a boxing fan. If you're a boxing fan, you've got DAZN. So I don't know. They need to get more content. That's without a doubt, and I think they will. I don't know what it will be. I think they'll get some part of one of the big sports over there, whether it's full rights to X amount of games, or because I believe I've sort of read something they're going to maybe DAZN might get X amount of live games throughout the season as a regular. Amazon are going to get a bunch of stuff. It's kind of going to.
There's some rumors that they're going to split up everything. There's some rumors that everything.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. But I think, I don't know, the trajectory of these kind of businesses. But like you say, Netflix, huge. Seems everybody's got a Netflix account, yet they're, what was it?
$3.5 billion in debt last year.
Yeah, I mean, how can that work? I don't know, but it does. It's not like Netflix said, "Look, we're fucked. We got to flick the switch and turn this off. We can't do this anymore." I'm sorry, but I don't know. So I guess somehow smarter people than myself see it working, and if such and such lands, and if we get I guess there's a business. I don't think they're just blindly in here just throwing money. I think there's kind of a plan to it, but how it pans out, I don't know. It seems unsustainable to normal people, but we're not millionaire corporations or anything like that. So
I will say this: they may have a plan, and the plan could still be bad. You know what I mean? And also, a good point. Ben Media, aka Lazy Lefty, saying Netflix and Amazon didn't have competition. I'm adding this part to his statement. When they started out, DAZN has to compete with established behemoths like DAZN, Amazon, Disney, Apple for content. Let me finish. There is an aspect to that Netflix and Amazon were innovative products and businesses that offered something very new to the marketplace. There is an argument that DAZN offers nothing new to the marketplace. And that's a distinct difference than when Netflix started out, Amazon started out, these huge mega companies we talk about now, because they were innovative. Is DAZN truly innovative in this space? I don't think so. Gary, I know you're about to jump in there, so I just want to finish my thought.
That's not true. Amazon started as a bookstore. It wanted to be the best bookstore that could get you any book within whatever it was, like 72 hours, right? That was their goal. They had to take on Dalton Books, and what was the other bookstore's name? I don't even remember what they were called, but there were two major bookstores.
Well, you mean like actual like stores like Barnes and Noble?
Barnes and Nobles, and I think
Borders
Books. Okay, those were the two major ones. They said no one's ever going to step into a bookstore again because of us. That was their goal. So their original competition with those two major bookstores, they were going to put book cafes out of business, and they kind of did.
But Gary, I think you're missing the point here. Amazon came into the marketplace that was like actual physical stores and said those are going to be gone. Right. We're going to go online. That's innovative. DAZN coming in here and saying we're going to put sports online. That's being done right now. That's not innovative. That's the distinction I think that Ben Media is making, and that I think is the one that's important here to make.
The major sports, baseball, basketball, football. Do most people watch it or stream it? I know you can do both. But I'm saying, I'm saying most people watch it. Do you think I'm wrong about that?
Wait, when you stream it, do you not watch it?
He means terrestrial TV.
TV. Good point, Rob.
I think most people obviously watch on TV still.
So DAZN is trying to get rid of cable. They're trying to get rid of that. I get Hulu and other things are in that, but their niche is sports. We're going to take sports fans, not movie fans, not television fans.
But again, Gary, ESPN Plus opened before DAZN. So like you really have the behemoth jumping the gun before DAZN entered the space.
That's true.
So you know what I mean? Like that would be like let's say if
with more content, but a shittier app, right?
Oh, much shittier. Oh my god.
So they're innovative apart, as far as they're working
in terms of not in terms of display. That's user interface. No, they're not innovative. That's absolutely true, Rob. But in terms of moving sports to the streaming sphere, DAZN missed the boat. That would be like if Barnes and Noble opened up a massive online shopping outlet, so to speak, that was Amazon before Amazon was created, or before Amazon entered the marketplace. That would be a true comparison, but that wasn't true back then. Barnes and Noble and Borders had to play catch up to Amazon, and they started creating websites and started selling books online, but they were playing catch up to the innovative new kid on the block.
Yeah, no, I agree. You're right. There's ESPN. I forgot ESPN app came around first. You're right about that. It wasn't much longer, but it's probably 2-3 months, 4 months, maybe 6 months.
Now, if DAZN somehow have it that they don't have to pay what they owe the taxman as well, maybe they will survive. Amazon make all that money and don't pay a dime, right? So
that is true. When you don't pay taxes, it's easy to lose money.
Although, who the fuck buys a book anymore? Come on, let's be honest.
But we talked about SEC football. College football, one of the biggest conferences in college football, most likely going to ESPN. We brought up Pac-12 being probably the other big conference you could pick up if you're DAZN. But like Rob mentioned, 2021, 2022, 2023, a lot of rights open up, and it's a make it or break it moment in the marketplace. Just like I think to a degree, Champions League in the UK, before they even entered the marketplace, that was a huge blow to them not getting that and BT getting it. It was, and not saying that they can't survive, not saying they can't be a company within these markets, but it's hard to be the ESPN of sports streaming, which is what they literally said.
Netflix.
ESPN. The quote. I just read it.
Who said that?
They've said Netflix and ESPN. They've said both.
Oh.
They have said both.
Okay.
I think it was Joe Markovsky. I can go back and.
All right, because I think
it's in the chat too. It's in the chat.
Statement was the Netflix of sports, right?
Yes. No, right here. Skipper came with the idea that he can make DAZN the ESPN of streaming video.
Oh, okay. But
they have said both. They have said 100%.
Losing money is the thing. Maybe they are the Netflix of sports.
That is true. I see what you said there, Rob.
Just early days.
Any other thoughts though on DAZN? I mean, I know this is a topic that we've talked about a lot. It's a topic that obviously we're going to talk about for a long time because it's a huge entity in this space, and it's one that's going to be evolving obviously as the years roll on.
I mean, me and you have beat this topic up for a while now. So Rob's the Matchroom / DAZN fanboy, even though he doesn't have DAZN. So I mean, let's give him final thought. I would say, right?
I basically do have DAZN. Well, for the boxing anyway. We get what you get, kind of. Just we don't have Chris Mannix and Sergio Mora and shit like that.
You guys don't get the Golden Boy cards though.
No, true, but oh well.
Hey, Hector Tanahara is fighting. Don't you dare disrespect his name.
Yeah, but as you said yesterday about Golden Boy, we get the Canelo fight. All right, that's it. That's all that matters. We get the Canelo fight.
We went yesterday's entire show without ever mentioning Hector Tanahara. I think that's the first since I've been on.
It might be.
Did you bang your head or something?
Are you okay, Gary?
No, I went back and listened, and I was like shocked. Like we didn't mention Tanahara not one time.
Do we mention Ortiz? Figueroa?
Yes, we mentioned Ortiz because I said Ortiz is the number 3 ranked WBO welterweight, so we could get a Ortiz Crawford fight.
Oh, that's right. And I was like, yeah, sure, all right, good one.
Then you said something about pay-per-view numbers that 10%. That's good, right? And then you expect Wilder Fury to get like a 50% bump with your prediction of what was it, 700,000?
It's not 50% bump. It's a 100% jump.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I mean.
Double. Yeah. I know what you meant, but yeah.
Matt picked 100% bump. Or you picked 500,000? Or you picked less than that?
No, he said like 4.
I said 4.
So okay, I mean that's still 3%.
Said 700.
700. You got two. Both guys are bigger names. Fury was exposed to the WWE market, which has 5 million live viewers every week. Yeah, I think he gets 400,000. I don't think that's okay.
I just don't think Americans like boxing anymore. To be honest, they just paying for it anyway.
Did Canelo do 1 million pay-per-view buys?
That's Canelo.
But that's the American market. Rob said Americans don't like boxing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, not now. It's $20 from DAZN. They're fine with it.
I mean, you could be right. I mean,
I don't know. Who knows?
Trolling so well.
There's just no who's doing it. There's when's the next $1 million US pay-per-view for $75? What is that fight?
Floyd Mayweather versus pick a guy.
Versus
pick a guy. Where's he from?
Thailand.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that was bad.
But DAZN, I guess it's a wait and see thing. Personally, they keep doing things that make you sort of go, oh, well, that might be. I think they're surprising people, but it's also people then go, but how can they possibly sustain this? Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's the thing. They cannot sustain it, period, until they get big sports. Until they get the actual top 3 sports, not including the NHL because they don't count.
Nobody cares about hockey.
I'm sorry. If it's Canada, that matters. If it's Minnesota, it matters. If it's the U.S., it doesn't. And until they do, I think this conversation is going to persist. And plus, I think they will get regulated to a niche streaming service because boxing's a niche market. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those weird things. Like boxing was obviously the cheap, easy thing to buy up, right? Or to be a part of when they jump into the U.S. market.
It was available, right? It was
available, but it's a very niche market. So it's one that they could easily tap into and get some exposure and some marketing from. But it's also one that very much limits you. And speaking from our own business, it's a spike business. So that means is that we hit spikes. So you get spikes of a Canelo fight, spikes of an AJ Ruiz fight, right? You get certain spikes where numbers are amazing. Everything else, very low. We have that.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to get
on shows about viewing figures, right?
Yeah.
You go like Gervonta Davis, like recently, wow, done really good number. Jamal Charlo, oh fuck, just peaks and troughs constantly. But it just depends on the fight. And I wish promoters would look at that, like, you only done 250. Yeah, but because it was a shit fight. I'm sorry, but
agreed. And because of that, it's very hard to get steady, consistent growth because of that. Because 1 week or 1 month it's a Canelo fight, right? And another month it's Andrade Keeler. And I mean, no offense to Andrade Keeler and anyone involved in that card, but to the audience that DAZN is trying to attract, one of those attracts them. The other one they have no clue about. And that's just a harsh reality.
Yeah, you're so harsh on Andrade. Fuck.
Hey, but I said he could beat I said he could beat Triple G now. I mean, you guys can't be that mean mad about me for hating on Andrade.
He can beat Canelo.
He cannot beat Canelo. No, he can't. No.
You got to get the fight to beat Canelo.
Yo, didn't you wait? Hold on, Gary. Didn't you think that Charlo beats Andrade?
Oh,
you're about to get into logical pretzel here, aren't you?
No, I mean, I'm gonna pick Charlo because he's my boy. Do I really think he can beat Andrade? He can't outbox him. You would need to catch him. Andrade gets lazy at times. I don't know that he can beat Andrade. Andrade might outbox him.
Yeah.
Canelo's hope would be that he catches him with something big.
Is that Canelo's hope as well?
Yeah.
And Matthew D'Souza is saying that is why DAZN introduced YouTubers. And I'm saying YouTubers are not sports. So that's why that experiment will not work, because they're trying to attract sports fans. Let me tell you, there are no NFL fans or no NBA fans or no MLB fans that give a flying fuck about Jake Paul. And that's not a sustainable long-term business. That's always been my point. So don't bring up YouTubers as that's DAZN diversifying their portfolio. No, it's not. It's a short-term spike they're looking for in social media marketing. That's it.
Don't they do esports?
I will slap the little hair off your head.
No, Matt. DAZN is going to get YouTube fans into boxing by selling them on this, and then they'll be boxing fans for life. Don't you know anything?
That was probably possibly the most sarcastic fucking line you've ever done.
Moving on. Come on, Matt. There's 2 really good fights on the card. No, Leonard, I think you misunderstood my point. It's a good card for boxing fans because it has Farmer Diaz, it has Roman. I'm not gonna pronounce that name. It's a good card for boxing fans. What I'm saying is that for the audience that DAZN is trying to attract, the casual sports fan, not boxing fan, casual sports fan. Please listen to my words, Leonard. I feel like a lot of you people do not listen to what I'm saying. You listen to what you want.
You people,
UK listeners. I'm being specific here. Yes, I think a lot of you UK listeners listen when we are talking about DAZN and trying to infer what we're thinking. And trying to expect what we're thinking and saying, not actually listen to us. You cannot honestly say that a Canelo fight and a Canelo month is on par with Andrade Keeler. You can't honestly say that. Because Andrade Keeler is only for the hardcore boxing fans. It's not even for the casual boxing fan, let alone the casual sports fan, which DAZN needs to become a big market leader. Canelo does that to a degree because it's Canelo Alvarez, right? But Andrade Keeler isn't that. That's what I'm talking about. It's a good card. I think it's actually, the more I think about it, I think it's a decent card. Especially take away the Jake Paul fight. If I just like put my finger above that and like ignore that one, right? It's a really good card. Like, I'm okay with it. It's one of his own better throwaway cards, so to speak, because it kind of feels like it is.
Please respect the WBC amateur champion.
Stop.
Fact.
But you cannot honestly say that Andrade Keeler attracts the casual sporting fan like a Canelo fight does. It doesn't. And that's just like not even arguable, I would say. Moving on, unless anyone else has anything else to say about DAZN. No, we're good. Okay. Fortuna Campbell. WBC title fight negotiations extended until January 21st per Jake Donovan at Boxing Scene. Guys, thoughts on Fortuna Campbell, the negotiation being extended? Is that a good thing? And do you think that's a positive that this fight's going to get made? The fact that the WBC extended the negotiation period to allow this negotiation to happen. Thoughts?
It was also because of a holiday period.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the fight gets made. It's will it be before purse bids? I don't know. I think who's the Fortuna's guy? Samson, what's it? Luikovic or something.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
He kind of came out quite bullish, like we're gonna get this fight, not you, kind of thing. I think originally, but I will they hash out a deal? I think so. And I as much as Eddie would like it on DAZN, I don't think he'd be. I personally don't think he would be too upset if Campbell had to go over to Fox or to fight for the bout, and then obviously bring it back to DAZN and Sky. But yeah, I think at least they've been given more time, and I'm sure a deal will get hashed out.
I don't know why this takes so long. I mean, this is Fortuna versus Luke Campbell. This is like the guy in your fantasy football league who takes the full 10 minutes to make his 13th round pick. It's like, just get this done. Like, I mean, split it 50-50 and be done with this, right? Like, you look at you. I mean, come on. This is, you guys should be chomping at the bit to get a title shot after make the fight. Like, just get this done with. Let's go to purse bids tomorrow if y'all can't agree.
Shouldn't they get the most money possible, Gary? Why should other negotiations take longer and haggle out?
In a deadline, you failed to meet the deadline. Okay? So now we're going to purse bids. Negotiation time is up. Playtime is over, Rob. We gave you playtime. You failed to seize the moment. So now we're going to purse bids. Or you cannot get a title shot and you can go fight five fights from the top, Fortuna, on some PVC card for $30,000. Is that what you want? Okay, so now we're going to purse bids.
Okay. But they've got more time and they're trying to get the most out of the deal.
Give them more time on a fight that like neither guy has any negotiating power. Just make
they asked for more time and they were granted it.
That's my why were they granted more time? That's what I'm saying. This is ridiculous. This is not
because if the fight is worth more money, then the WBC will get more.
Hold on, guys. Gary obviously knows that there's a giant conspiracy happening.
Oh God.
No, I think that they just want to make the fight, and I bet both guys were eating and drinking over the holidays.
I'm into the fight. I like the fight. I want the fight to get made. That's why I just want it to get made.
And Gary, if the deadline gets pushed back 2 weeks, it's not a big deal.
I'm not a fan
of. Are you ready for this fight, Gary? Are you just like can't wait?
I'm into the fight. I think it's a good fight, and one of those guys is going to get to be and this is going to upset Matt, a world champion. And
everything upsets Matt, Gary. You don't have to do quotation marks.
Like when we go back, we the best guys never win a world title, assuming Luke Campbell wins.
That frustrates Matt as well. Your fucking computer making noises.
Yeah,
it upsets me so much. You have no idea. I just don't say anything.
I'm putting that one on Rob. That was Rob's computer.
I got nothing that comes on.
Gary, we know it's you. It makes the same sound every time.
Historically.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that was me. I put it on Rob, but
back to Fortuna Campbell. The fight's going to happen. I think. There's no concern. I think to be had.
Good things come to those who wait, Gary.
That's what I tell my kid at Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, is this again? I like the fight. I mean, is it worth the anticipation? Is this Christmas morning? Am I marking off the days on my calendar for Tuna Campbell? Not really.
So Gary, do you think we shouldn't be talking about that?
Let's go to the next topic.
Okay.
Very quick, just to address yesterday. I didn't actually cry when Lebedev retired.
Thank you.
You were able to hold it together.
Huh?
You were able to hold it together. Your emotions. You were.
Yeah, he's Russian. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. He's not British, man. Come on. Jorge Linares versus Carlos Morales added to the Garcia Fonseca card. Thoughts, gentlemen, on this amazing fight that's going to set up the winner for obviously Ryan Garcia.
Oh, you're just assuming that Ryan Garcia wins his fight. We might see.
Do you really think Fonseca wins, honestly?
I don't know. You put it on Tank a little bit before he got sorted out in that fight where Tank didn't make weight again.
Yeah, but that was an unmotivated, overweight Tank.
Oh.
Tank. So Tank, yes.
Yeah, who save you saying that whole sentence? Just say his name.
Yeah, it did seem a little bit redundant as I finished that sentence. Yeah.
Can we call Tank Davis Fat Boy from now on?
No,
they're calling him Sugar Tank now.
Fat Boy.
They're calling him Sugar Tank. Everywhere I look, it's like Sugar Tank this, Sugar Tank that.
Oh my God. Anyways,
Fat Boy is just one of those comebacks that it's like, yeah, well, you're stupid. It's so clear.
Yeah, shut up, Fat Boy.
I see that everyone's excited for Linares Morales. We can move on.
Shields got fights they should win, and it's just they're on the same card, and they can do a photo in the middle of the ring after.
Absolutely. It's I just don't know why they're doing it at the Honda Center.
I don't even know where that is.
That's it's
Japan.
No, it's in Anaheim, so it's like a county over from LA and Staples Center, but it's the same size as Staples Center. So it's a 20,000 plus.
Does somebody play there?
Yeah, the Anaheim Ducks.
It's ice hockey.
Ice hockey, and then it's right next to Angel Stadium, so like that just means a baseball team plays next to it. But
you've seen the big arena they're doing in Vegas? That looks
ominous.
That's Canelo, right?
That's ominous as fuck, by the way. It's the Death Star.
Yeah. It is.
Right, it's the fucking Death Star.
Like Dark Destroyer has just landed.
It's so terrifying.
But who's the first fight in there, do you think? Canelo? Or do you think Mayweather Pac 2 or some shit like that?
I didn't even think about Mayweather Pac 2. Rob.
What does it hold? How many does it hold?
Well, it's a football stadium, so at least 60,000, I'm thinking, right, Gary? Like I'm not checking this.
Oh, it's a college stadium?
No, it's an NFL stadium, so it's at least 60,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, baseball stadiums and NFL stadiums, Rob, are at least 60,000 people plus.
Okay.
At least the modern ones.
I thought it was.
I should say, not like.
I thought it was a big deal there. That was all. I thought it was like 100,000.
No.
Calgary Stadium holds 100,000. There's a few college football venues that hold 100,000 in Michigan.
That's it. Only like a few have got 100,000 seats. Like,
that's a lot, bro.
Yeah, but it's like the way you guys talk about football is like.
Yeah, but Rob, I mean,
like a pilgrimage to
but Rob, but the amount of 60,000, 80,000 seat stadium we have is a lot too. So like, it's like, it's like Cardiff and Wembley, right? Like they're massive. They're still soccer stadiums or football stadiums, right?
Oh yeah. I just due to the I thought America's always bigger and better and.
No, we have a ton of stadiums that size.
Yeah,
ton of them. Trust me. Like OSU was a 40,000 seat stadium, and that's in a town of 50,000 people.
It's a good place to be a burglar, right? Happens at the game.
That's trust me, it was. But digressing, let's get to the fights this weekend. Shields Habazine is being rescheduled. Obviously, or was rescheduled, or is rescheduled for USA Showtime this weekend on Friday. What else is on this card? Alicia Napoleon versus Alan Cederos. Jaron Enos is on the card. Always like to see him. And that's about it from people that I know. Shield should win in pretty dominating fashion. I mean, Habazine is not a bum. Don't get me wrong, but
bottom. Can we say bottom for a female bum?
I get what you're saying. But Shields is just levels above Habazine, and plus is coming down in weight, so she's going to be significantly bigger than Habazine as well, especially when she rehydrates. At least Napoleon should win as well, probably setting up Shields' next opponent. And
Amanda Nunes.
What?
A Nunes? When's that? Are they not Amanda Nunes?
Oh, no, let's not talk about that, Rob. No. I just caught what you were saying. No, we're not talking about Shields versus Amanda Nunes. No.
I thought that's like what was next. I thought they were doing that.
Do you think that really happens?
Probably.
Oh, my God.
She's a trailblazer, right?
So depressing. And Jaron Ennis should pick up a win on this card as well. Guys, thoughts on Shields' Habazine card? Gary, Rob?
It's a good fight for Shields. I think Shields is going to win, but I want to see how she looks. Like, does she dominate? Does she win every round? Does she defensively, outclass her? I want to see. I mean, Shields is going to win. We all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But I just want to see, like, if there's an outclassing. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm interested in. I'm seeing. I think it's a good gauge to see where Claressa Shields is.
Plus,
I'm outclassed Hammer, right? So,
but it's a new weight class, a significant drop in weight for her. I'm curious about that. Like, she does seem significantly slimmed down for this fight. Cardio may be a factor here that we haven't seen before. Just curious about that.
Nah, because they only fight 20 minutes.
Yeah, but if you're still weight drained, it doesn't matter how long you're fighting. You're gonna tire out fast. It doesn't matter. It might not matter as much because it's 20 minutes, but it still matter.
To me, this is just, I don't know. It's
a Good Friday card.
It's another title for a female boxer that I hate, like, seeming like I'm hating on it, but look at, like, you got Amanda Serrano. She's a 8-weight or 7-weight world champion, but it's not, like, really. It's not.
No, Shields is not going to get a fight that we're really hyped for. Again, probably till she moves back up for like a Savannah Marshall.
Yeah.
Or she moves down again, or catch weight, some sort of catch weight most likely with Cecilia Brækhus. That would get us hardcores significantly hyped. But Brækhus is going the Katie Taylor route because it's probably a little bit more money right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And she'll win that fight, and then she'll fight Shields.
That's possible, yeah. I think Brækhus is...
And I hate saying this about women because I'm just old school, and I don't like talking about a woman's age. But Brækhus is old for a fighter.
Yes.
Right? So, I mean, she's got to be getting close to the end. So I would figure she's going to look to get those two legacy fights quickly. Assuming she beats Katie Taylor, which I think she does.
And even if she loses to Katie Taylor, she can still get a Claressa Shields fight. And I think it would still matter to a degree. Not as much, obviously, but it would still matter.
She could. I'm just saying if she loses to Katie Taylor, it's going to be a rematch. And that could push things
off.
No.
I in terms of timing, yes. Yeah. I absolutely get your point. But, I mean, Brækhus is what, 38 years old, 39 years old? She's old.
Her age.
It's okay, Gary. It's sports. We can talk about women's age and their weight when it comes to fighting. That's kind of what you have to do.
I'll leave you to that.
I think, though, that when we get Shields Brækhus, I think we will get it eventually. That'll be something to see. And then the grudge match when she goes and beats up Savannah Marshall.
Yeah, right.
Cannot wait for that one to rub in Rob's face. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be better. It's gonna be so much better than Usyk Gassiev. Cannot wait. Or Usyk Belly. Let's not forget that one, guys. So good. But moving on.
Oh, you mean it's David Hay and Belly apparently 1.5 million on count.
Insane.
That reporting's been crazy for the UK pay-per-view record. Oh my god.
A little bit of misreporting there, right? But digressing, Jesse Hart versus Joe Smith Jr. on ESPN. Regular ESPN, guys, not ESPN Plus. This is on ESPN. Fighting, obviously, on Saturday in the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. Also, I want to say that's the same venue that Shields is fighting in the day before. No, she's not. She's fighting in a different venue. Same city, different venue. She's fighting the Ocean.
Gary made you say that.
Yeah, I know. Fucking Gary. Fake news, Gary.
I think the same venue. I didn't know there were still two venues in the abandoned Atlantic City. I thought there was only one venue left.
No, now there's two, apparently.
Okay.
Gary was like, it's in the same venue. Because it's like Friday and then Saturday.
And he said that, I'm like, that seems kind of odd.
Matt was like, really? Oh, wow. And then, no. actually.
But what else on this card? Steven Nelson's on the card, undefeated super middleweight prospect, fighting Cam Kalek, who's also undefeated. I'll be honest, I don't know who Cam Kalek is from Turkey. I've seen Steven Nelson fight before. He's kind of decent, I guess. Joseph Ordono, also undefeated prospect, lightweight prospect on the card. His brother's on the card, Jeremy Ordono, and that's Sonny Konto is on the card. That's about it for terms of like notable prospects or names from Top Rank here. Gary, I know you've been really hyped on this main event, so I'll let you go first. Give me a breakdown here of Jesse Hart versus Joe Smith Jr.
First off, you forgot to mention Xander Zayas is fighting on the card, and he's the Puerto Rican welterweight, so he's obviously the next Trinidad or Cotto.
Yes.
Or probably some kind of combination of... I don't know what that is. I really don't know what that is.
Wait. Hold on, Gary. After the show, we're going to work on those notifications being turned off.
Okay. If you don't even know what it is, do you need it?
I don't know what it is. I can't even help you. It just happens. It's like out of mind of its own.
So you get like no like pop-up on your computer saying, hey, notification.
It just happens.
It just happens. This is why...
Notifying something is probably emails, but I don't know what it is. Like, no, it's just a thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you get a Mac. Just saying.
But like, I'm already like, I've PC was who I am. It's like, okay, this is your wife. Like,
I am PC.
You can't change now. It's just it's too difficult, right? Like I had a
It's too difficult, yet you don't even know what that noise is. What the fuck?
No, Apple is obviously much more user friendly. Obviously, it's more user friendly, but it's like I'm not learning a new system now. It's just it's too
I get you.
what I have, right? Like I had a Android for years, and then my wife would look like this thing is so big. Can you just get an iPhone? And then finally, I said, okay, I'll get an iPhone. I was like, wow, this is really easy to use, right? But like, I'm not.
Trust me, when you get a MacBook Pro, same thing, man. Like, oh my god, I've been living like a savage.
Once you get the basic thing of an Apple, it does things are easier. But at first, it's like, where the fuck?
Since you have an iPhone too, you're gonna get a MacBook and understand it very fast. Just saying, you don't have to go get one now. I'm just saying you can. But back to Jesse Hart, Joe Smith Jr. Gary, thoughts on that fight?
I love this fight. I think it's going to be a pretty even fight until Joe Smith catches him with something big. And Hart can be caught with something big, which is why I favor Joe Smith in this fight. So I'm thinking round 7, we're going to have a pretty even contest where maybe Jesse Hart's up a little bit, outworking. He's a better athlete. He's landing more shots, but Smith is definitely in the fight, and then he'll catch him with something big in the end. It'll come quickly, I say, in the middle rounds. Officially, I'll say 7, but it's a good fight. It's a high action fight. You got a fundamentally sound Joe Smith, who just, like we said yesterday, has slow white guy problems. I mean, he's just not that good of an athlete, with excellent power against a better all around fighter, but who is susceptible to getting hit. And I think that's going to be a problem. Like you saw him catch Bivol. If there were 10 seconds left in that round when he caught Bivol, he knocks Bivol out, but it came right at the bell. So yeah, I think he gets him out quickly. I think it's not to that, because I don't think it's going to be being outclassed, but I think it's going to kind of be like the Ortiz-Wilder fight, where, you know, Wilder was losing rounds, but he was setting something big up that was coming. And I think Joe Smith is going to be able to do that and get him out. I like Joe Smith at the light heavyweight division against everyone except for those elite light heavyweights.
So you think Joe Smith's going to get a gifted draw?
I think he wins by knockout.
You said it's going to be like Wilder Fury.
I said Wilder Ortiz, didn't I?
Oh,
I think you said Wilder Ortiz.
Yeah,
right.
Ortiz.
I was just here for the jokes. I missed out. Yeah, I don't know. I hope Joe Smith wins because Hart kind of bores me. I'm not a big Hart fan, to be honest. Was it against Nichols or Nicholson or something?
Mm-hmm.
That fight, yeah. Oh my god, that
was Desmond Nicholson or something like that.
I don't know if it was Desmond, but I just remember Nichols or Nicholson, something like that. But yeah, it was. Yeah, it just made me not like Hart very much. I can't remember why even, but it was not good. And I've had a sort of not anti-Hart, but I don't know. But I believe he's favourite. I think Hart is favourite. I think Joe Smith Jr. is like a plus 350 or something like and Hart's maybe like a minus 500.
Oh,
I
wow.
think. So
That's significant.
yeah, so because of that and my streak of getting shit right, I'm gonna go with Hart.
There you go. Pick against your heart.
Carry
There.
out in the weeds there.
pick against your heart and pick Hart. I like it. I like it there, Rob. I'll say this. Hart is one of those guys where if he could establish a game plan and execute a game plan, he would win this fight 10 out of 10 times. He's a better boxer, better mover, actually has a jab. Just does things from a fundamental perspective that you like when Joe Smith Jr. is kind of just a come for poor man's boxer puncher. But that might do Joe Smith a good thing here. That might do him a service here because, like I said, Hart doesn't really have game plans, doesn't really have strategy in his fights. Kind of just goes in there and wings it. And because of that, he doesn't utilize his speed, his lateral movement, his sort of boxing ability like he should. So I don't expect Hart to come in here and to like box circles around Joe Smith Jr. because that would be the smart thing to do. That would be like the game plan thing to do, the strategic thing to do. And he just doesn't do that. Hart. Like you look at the Gilberto Ramirez second fight, when you saw in the first fight, he had a game plan to a degree, or at least he fell into a game plan. He fell into a strategy in the second half of that fight and looked good in the first fight. In the rematch, all the success he had in that first fight, he ignored and just did everything the opposite of what he should be doing. That was a huge red flag for me and Jesse Hart in terms of strategic game planning. So because of that, I am probably leaning Joe Smith Jr. here by decision. I think he will probably hurt Hart at least once, maybe knock him down, and that might actually be the deciding factor for him to get the decision is the knockdown. But Hart's a tough guy. I think he'll be able to get back up and survive. I think he'll be able to find periods of rounds and certain rounds where he has success and gets into a groove, but it's not sustained momentum. It's not sustained success because he doesn't really have strategy. And it's a huge factor to have in the elite level. And if you don't have it, you need to have a certain style that is just efficient. And Joe Smith Jr. is quite efficient in what he wants to do. He may not want to do a lot, so to speak, in the ring, but what he wants to do is simple, basic, and efficient at it. And that matters a lot in this type of matchup. So I'm leaning a Joe Smith Jr. decision. But like I've laid out, Hart is the better boxer. So if he wins a decision, don't be shocked at all.
So I'm the only one picking the favorite.
That makes me very concerned here. Yes, it makes me very concerned here. Any other thoughts, guys, on this card?
No.
Good. We can move on.
It's ESPN, so we ain't going to get to see it.
Damn, so sad.
I think I just figured out the problem with the notifications on my email. I think it's taken care of. If not, I took the sound off something else.
Can you hear him, Matt?
I was going to do that, Rob. I was so going to do that. But I laughed. I was like, I can't do it now. I laughed. Like he knows I heard him. But damn it. Anyways, moving on. Last topic of the day. Then we're going to get to callers, guys. So Santiago and the 951 number. I see you both there. Don't go anywhere. 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. Jaime Munguia versus Gary Spike O'Sullivan. Also, Hector Tanajara versus Juan Carlos Burgos. The Racon brothers as well. And plus, it's not here on BoxRec, but I believe it's here on ESPN. Franchon Dezurn fighting Alejandra Jimenez for her WBC and WBO Unified Championship. That should be a good fight as well. Did I mention Joshua Franco on this card as well? I thought I mentioned that. Maybe I didn't. Who else? Some good fighters on this card overall. I think, the main event sucks, but the rest of this card, a lot of good prospects. If this was a Friday night card, I would have almost no issues with it. But it's Saturday, and you have a shitty main event on top of it. Guys, thoughts on the Munguia Spike O'Sullivan card?
When is that?
Saturday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's Munguia at 160, I guess, but
air quotes.
Yeah, that's all right, but again, not gonna be able to see it, not unless someone teaches me this VPN nonsense.
Just Google. You can use Google, Rob. You're smart.
I just
It's working.
Do you know what? People saying, why don't you stream it? Look, if it's on like Sky or BT at 4 o'clock in the morning, there's a chance I can either sit in bed with my TV. I'm not fucking around getting up to my computer.
Oh no.
Stream.
No. There's no reason to do that. You can find on Daily Motion in the next
4
morning.
a.m. for some of these dog shit fights.
No, you're good.
But you know, if Sky have got it or something, or it's a channel on my Sky box, no problem.
Plus,
I'm not looking at my phone for it, especially.
Plus, Daily Motion has them all the next
48
hours.
Oh, they're there next morning.
I said 48 hours to give them a grace period. You know.
Yeah. Like I said, you were like immediate reaction show. I can't remember what fight it was, but I'm like, depending on Daily Motion's speed of putting it up, I might be able to make it. But nah, O'Sullivan expected him to put on a better performance against Lemieux and got absolutely iced. So I don't know. Will the weight be different for Munguia? I don't know, but hopefully O'Sullivan can make more of a fight of it than he did in the Lemieux fight. But yeah, wouldn't say I'm pumped for this one.
Undercard's fine, but that's only if you like the prospects. And
yeah,
Rob Rob's mortal enemy, Gary. It's all his prospects, so you can't do that. You can't co-sign Rick Holland brothers and Tanahara yet.
No.
And that guy who you talking about, Black Magic, who is that guy? He's also on the card. Treval Maison. Remember?
I was like, there's another name here, and it was Maison. I'm like, who is that guy? I've heard of him. Black Magic.
The Black Magic guy. Whoever was like, who is that guy? Like, he's undefeated prospect. I mean, he hasn't set the world on fire yet, but.
But remember, Gary, we thought you were just literally talking about black magic and sorcery.
Side hobby. We don't talk about that on air.
Imagine like you could just stand in the corner and like the dude suddenly just feels like a horrible kidney punch. Like, how are you doing that? Like, just black magic.
Rob, you've seen the movie Major League, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. His locker room definitely is interesting. Yes. He's definitely cutting the heads off chickens.
That was the original was on my list of top 5 funniest movies ever.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
that's okay. That's acceptable. It's not right, but it's acceptable.
Okay, it's on.
I would put it higher than Dumb and Dumber.
Absolutely.
Nothing higher than Dumb and Dumber.
Oh my god.
Major League is also the best baseball movie ever, but that's beside the point.
Sandlot. We talking about
Field of Dreams. What are you talking about? Field of Dreams.
It's not Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams is trash.
If you build it, they will come.
I'm middle, but I'm closer to Matt than Rob. A talking baseball field.
A talking baseball.
I was literally trolling Gary. Come on now.
Hold on, talking baseball. How was that movie not like a made for a Disney movie, right?
Whose voice was it? Because James Earl Jones in that, right? It's not him talking. If Darth Vader is the talking,
isn't it?
Then shut up, Gary.
Isn't it? What's his name from Goodfellas?
The pizza place.
That would be so funny if it was Joe Pesci's voice.
No, it's not.
If you build it, I'll come. I'll be here.
Anyways, Gary, I know you have some thoughts about Tanahara and the Rickon brothers, and this is our last topic, so let's get to it. Let's go to callers.
This is a great card. You got a good step up fight for Tanahara, who's needed one, who's kind of been stuck in fighting the same level of fighter. This is a guy, Burgos, who's fought Mikey Garcia. He fought Rocky Martinez to a draw. This is a good fighter. He's past his prime, obviously, and he's a fossil, but it's a good test. Tanahara's not going to get a knockout because he doesn't really knock anybody out. But again, this is a guy who's 16-0, 17-0. How many fights does Tanahara have?
18-0.
18-0.
Come on.
And he arguably hasn't lost a round yet. I mean, that's the level where this guy is.
So this is a good step up fight for Tanahara.
It's a good.
You said he beats Devin Haney. All right then.
Devin Haney hasn't fought a guy who's good. Oh, Haney fought Burgos, so that's the best name on Haney's resume too. By the way,
is it?
Give me a better one.
I'll think.
I mean,
it's a lot of this level.
And then you have the Rincon brothers, Maison and Josh Franco, a bunch of Texas prospects. On a Texas card, so it's a good day for Texas boxing.
Agreed.
It's in Texas. The fight's in Texas.
In San Antonio, the Alamo Dome.
Are you going?
Of course, I'm going.
Oh my god!
You're making the trip all the way to San Antonio, Gary?
Yeah.
He went to New
Are you,
York.
are you
Charlo Hogan? What are you talking
but
about?
are you flying or driving?
We'll make a. I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
That's how big Texas is.
If you go at night and you avoid the Austin traffic, it's only a 4-hour drive.
That's not too bad, but I wouldn't do that.
That's insane.
I wouldn't
If
drive.
because Austin wasn't built to have this many people in it, so like the traffic is brutal. Because the city grew so fast, like they couldn't keep up the infrastructure. Driving through Austin's the worst.
There's an insight for all the UK listeners how big Texas is. Are you flying or driving to someone in the same place? From one place to the same place. Are you flying or driving? Brilliant.
Well, Texas is, I don't know. Is Texas bigger in land? I know not popular, but just land mass in the UK. It's probably close, right?
You can get like I think you can get like 7 or something UKs in Texas. What are you talking about?
No way.
UK is tiny, bro.
Compared,
UK is a densely populated piece of land.
From the bottom of, what is it? It's like 1,500 miles.
Yeah.
From the bottom of the UK to the top of Scotland.
The UK is the size of California, I would say.
okay, so Texas is bigger then. I mean, it's not like drastic. It's not 7 times the size like Rob said.
No, it's probably not that big.
I'm going to Google how many UKs
fit in Texas. Why you do that? Hold on. Why you do that? Let's go to callers. Okay. Santiago in LA. Let's go to you. Santiago, what's up, man?
Yeah, not much, dude. I'm about to go driving a little bit. Excited for Friday and Saturday. I'm going to have a friend over for Friday. Maybe drag Alon's ass over to watch the Joe Smith fight. And, yeah, let's just get to it. There's not really much to say. It's Friday, so it's basically just a showbox card at this point. I'm looking forward to at least 3 of the fights. Shields is going to do her thing, get an emphatic win as far as I'm concerned. And then really the question is what's next after this? Obviously, it's either Savannah Marshall or the winner of Taylor Breakus. So it'll be interesting to see where she goes considering. But I'm also very curious to see how she handles fighting at 154 considering because, granted, it's more common for female fighters to drop in weight, but it's still a tall order depending on what you're normally accustomed to.
By the way, guys, hold on very quickly, Santiago. This is important here. Igloo in the chat says he did the math, guys. Exactly 2.87 UKs fit in Texas. So
he didn't do the math. He Googled it because I already found it.
Don't be hating, Rob.
and a Google image search also shows that you can fit Belgium, Czech Republic, Slovenia, the Netherlands, Switzerland, Austria, Slovakia, Luxembourg, and Hungary and Macedonia all in Texas at the same time.
How many? What was the answer? I didn't hear the answer.
2.8 UKs.
Okay. Okay.
Back to you, Santi. I'm sorry that I felt like it was important to let our audience know that.
It was worthy of stopping Santi's flow.
I feel bad now. I'm sorry.
Hey, I've been to Texas once to San Antonio. It is a huge-ass place. I remember being right next to the freeway, man, and just getting to one side of the city it was a fascinating thing. So,
did you fly or drive?
I lived in LA, but I drove for that one. Stopped in New Mexico for the night, and then finished the trip like late at night in San Antonio, getting lost. Because my uncle was that kind of guy who basically said, "I know where I'm going. I'm not lost." So
what a typical man.
Trip.
Yes, I agree with him. He wasn't lost. Just finding a different way.
He just didn't know where he was.
You should have drove all the way to El Paso, because then at least like you feel like you're close when you stop for the night. I mean, you're still 12 hours away, but at least you feel better about it. You know, like, okay, I'm in Texas. I'm not anywhere close to San Antonio, but at least I'm in Texas.
I look forward to visiting you sometime, Gary.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
if you could, I would fly.
Hey.
That drive is for the birds.
Yeah. I've driven through Texas before. It's not fun. I've driven across the country before. Not fun.
Did you crash into the right angle? It's like a weird shape, right? Texas, it's got that weird right angle.
Oh, I get. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? No. I drove through the top of Texas for that time. So I went to like Armadillo and stuff like that. When I went across the country.
Wait, armadillo?
Amarillo.
Amarillo, thank you.
Oh, okay.
It's Spanish. It means yellow.
It means armadillo.
Armadillo means yellow. Isn't it brown?
Amarillo means yellow. The name of the city is Amarillo.
As in, show me the way
No,
to
they
Amarillo. That place.
Texas. I had one in my front yard once, but they don't. Not really in Amarillo. And Amarillo and armadillo are two different words.
Isn't that a liqueur, Amarillo?
It might be.
Yeah. Is it yellow?
It'll forever be the whitest way anyone ever says the word amarillo, which is how you pronounce yellow in Spanish.
Damn,
Well,
Santi's
armadillo?
like, oh, these fucking gringos here.
At least I knew it meant yellow.
Anyways, and
At least you knew the right name. Back to you, Santi. I apologize.
one of these days I gotta do a show with you guys again. It's gonna be some fun banter. As I described once, I'm a big fan of Joe Smith ever since he got his win from Fonfara, and high level basic. It's a guy for me, someone who has his basics down to a T. Like Matt said, doesn't do a lot, but knows exactly what he wants to do, can execute it when he has the opportunity. And the only thing that's like even close to advanced would probably be the power he has, which is really the deciding factor that I think we're going to be focusing on in the Jesse Hart fight. Because, like you said, Matt, Jesse Hart's like hella inconsistent. Like, we saw a guy who looked like he was on his way to, I guess what you can say now was his career best performance, a win against Gilberto Ramirez, and then we have the rematch, and it's like that first fight never happened. And if anybody remembers the Fonfara fight, when Joe Smith got that first knockdown, he got that knockdown while Fonfara was unloading on him. So that power is definitely going to be what makes or breaks the fight for Joseph King. And if he can keep him even consistently hurt, I can easily see him winning a dominating decision win. I mean, do we think that Jesse Hart has the ability to really withstand a plethora of power from Joe Smith?
Maybe. I mean, probably not. But it's not like Jesse Hart's been a guy that's been knocked out a bunch either, right?
True, but I'm actually willing to bet that Joe Smith's power is at least one notch above Gilberto Ramirez.
No, it definitely is. No, it definitely is. Don't get me wrong. But I wouldn't say like Gilberto Ramirez like had success with his power against Jesse Hart. Right? May have to go back and watch those fights more.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, if we see a repeat of like the Gilberto Ramirez fight against Joe Smith, then it's going to be his fight to lose at that point. Do we see it? It's all going to really boil down to whether or not he can stay consistent. Consistency is going to really be the name of the game at this point for either guy. I'm picking Joe Smith. I think that with that power he has, it's going to be the thing that saves the fight for him and keeps him pretty much competitive in the fight. Because we're going to probably see spots where Jesse Hart's having his way with him. Maybe he gets a little cocky. Maybe he gets a little lazy. Who knows what exactly it is he's going to get. And then he gets caught. The follow-up is going to be very important moving forward from there. And that's pretty much all I really have to add. Don't really care too much about the other topics. As you guys already know, I feel that somebody else runs Crawford's Twitter account at this point, because that very last line where he said that Errol Spence is a real dude is, to me, was like Crawford walked in, saw his buddy like talking shit through his Twitter, and then had to be all like, I gotta save face now.
I like conspiracy theories, Santi. I like them. Thank you for the call, man. We're going to go to 951. 951. Who is this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, guys? Johnny from greater LA area.
Johnny, what's up?
Hey, what's up? Just call to talk about the zone. I had the zone. I think it's pretty good for what they're doing. Kind of like starting a small business. I think you're gonna take losses in the first couple of years, and then hopefully you're gonna gain some traction after a while. I think Rob he has the right idea of waiting for those rights to expire, and then they could bid on them. Hopefully they get one of them because they might need it. But Rob, I don't know. Do you guys have the zone out there too, or like a smaller version of it?
No, we don't have the zone, but Sky, as part of the deal with Matchroom, we get all the Matchroom cards from the zone. They usually pick up the Canelo fight as well, so it's only other like Golden Boy cards that we don't get really, but we get the main stuff. But yeah, the actual app we don't get with whatever other content you guys have got. But I guess it's content that maybe Sky have anyway, not necessarily like Sky's own rights to it, but I think there's probably a merger. Like you get the darts, we've got the darts. I don't know what other stuff you've got. Snookers are available here. It's a big sport here. All that kind of stuff.
And I believe the zone is thinking about opening or planning to opening their UK market in the next year or two. I think is when they're trying to go for it. They've been talking about it, but not really with any set date.
He's always pretty coy on it because I guess the Sky thing with Eddie is still running. So I think he's always like, we'll obviously we look at all markets when they're available, but nothing just yet regarding the UK. And it's like, yeah, we get it. You can't really say. Sometimes he's been interviewed together with Adam Smith, and it's like, what do you want me to say? Yeah, we're fucking coming for your neck. We're coming for all your stuff. I don't know. You're working together at the moment, so you're not going to start saying certain stuff. But no, I don't know. But I think I'm sure they'll pop up all over the place because as much as like maybe people feel like DAZN USA isn't doing that great, like globally they are doing. I think doing fine, but the USA is, I think, solely dependent on
90 seconds
rights from, NBA or NFL, especially.
Yeah. I mean, even the Bellator. I enjoy the Bellator on there. I watch UFC too, so. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good deal, especially the yearly versus the monthly. I mean, the monthly is more of their competition to the pay-per-view model, I guess. But Gary and Matt, you guys both have it, right?
Yeah, I think I think there's no argument against the idea.
Seconds.
If you're a combat sports fan, that you're getting your money's worth on DAZN. There's no argument against that. You clearly are, especially compared to the old model. The argument is that if you're not a combat sports fan, there's nothing for you on DAZN. And DAZN wants to attract non-combat sports fans. And to be the Netflix of sports or the ESPN of sports or whatever they want to call themselves, they have to attract people that aren't us, even though we are largely satisfied with the content we've been giving, because we have been. I mean, maybe Gary has a different opinion about this, but I've been satisfied with DAZN as a combat sports fan, but I'm thinking beyond that because it's kind of my job to think beyond that. But if I'm just talking as a consumer, of course DAZN's a positive for me, especially when the old model was either all pay-per-views for Canelo fights,
seconds.
All these international events you had to find illegal streams for. I mean, this model is cheaper and far more access to content than the previous paradigm, the previous model. But the mom and pops that watch the NFL, your Johnnies and Sallies that watch the NBA and MLB, they don't care about DAZN, and that's an issue. But for us, I think it's definitely worth the price. Oh. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Do you think, because I mean, this past year, like if you started from the first Wilder Fury, you had that one. Then the next month you had Pacquiao Broner. Then you had Spence Garcia. Then you had the kind of flop Crawford Khan.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had Pacquiao again, Spence again, Wilder again. You think? I don't know. I think it's going to catch up to him, right? Like, you think they're going to have to go a streaming route too? Or you think they're going to be able to sustain that many pay-per-views a year?
As long as these numbers keep holding up, they can absolutely sustain this. The Crawford Khan, though, I mean, that's obviously ESPN, and that was a bomb. And I think there's a reason that Crawford's next fight wasn't pay-per-view and why it took so long for him to have another fight, why they haven't really experimented with Loma on pay-per-view. There's a reason why. But for PBC and Fox, I think it's obvious that they've been quite successful in their pay-per-view venture. Have they been blockbuster successful? No, but they've definitely been making money and offsetting costs for the network deals. So I think, unfortunately, the numbers that we needed to see this change didn't happen. We need a lot more Crawford Khan numbers for, like you said, the Spence fights, the Pacquiao fights, the Wilder fights. If we saw Crawford Khan numbers more across the board, we would see a change in how they move. But we didn't see that, unfortunately.
I think Wilder Ortiz too was a financial hit, but it's looking into going into this rematch with Fury that they kind of, and again, I think that's partly DAZN have made these ridiculous amounts of money for certain fighters that other fighters feel I could have got that on DAZN now. So I think like purses and what these fighters are going to make, and then making it pay-per-view. Obviously, that pay-per-view's then got to try and cover more than it would have. So a 300.
But you're making more money on the pay-per-view than you would on the TV deal, and that's why they do it. Is that, let's say if it's a Fox event, a Showtime event, they're paying maybe $1 million or $2 million to show that, right? Like they're not paying a huge license fee to show that fight. But pay-per-view, they're making 10, 20, 30 million in revenue, and that's offsetting a massive amount of cost. And even though, like you said, Wilder Ortiz 2 wasn't a financial success, it still wasn't a bomb enough to where they're going to change their course to any degree. Even if it wasn't a Fury next, let's say it was Wilder or Andy Ruiz next, or some other matchup that was still like a good matchup, right, on that Ortiz level, it would be pay-per-view because it's still a viable structure right now, and they're still making enough money to offset the TV costs and the TV deal because they want to save that for all their other events. They want to save the $60 million from Fox, the $60 million from Showtime, the $120 million from DAZN, whatever it may be. They want to try to save this money by offsetting costs, whether through site fees or through pay-per-view. So that's why you see that. That's why you see an AJ Ruiz go to Saudi Arabia. That's why you see Crawford Khan go to pay-per-view. It's to offset costs. Some of them are more successful in offsetting costs than others. But, I mean, the Spences of the world, the Wilders of the world, they're pay-per-views from now on. Unless we see an actual box office bomb like Crawford Khan. And this is a good barometer. Like if it's below 200,000, that's not successful. If it's above 200,000, it's either breaking even, making money, doing just fine, or if it gets to the 400,000, 500,000 mark, it's really doing well.
I wanted to ask you real quick. You said you're happy as a boxing fan with DAZN as an app, right? Like you think $20 a month is fine price point. You're happy with what you have?
We pays the year.
Oh, it pays the year. Perfect.
Well, I paid it yearly, yeah. But even if you were to tap in and tap out 1 month to see Canelo, yeah, that's a pretty good option. I mean, if you want to do that.
I agree. I don't know do you watch other sports, mainstream sports, baseball, basketball, football, anything like that?
Yeah, baseball mainly.
Okay, baseball. So have you ever watched their baseball package, their baseball highlight show?
Not on DAZN. No,
okay.
I've seen maybe one episode of it.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good, all right? But you were with me when you were saying that they should try to get one of the mainstream sports. Would you say baseball, college football, or basketball? Obviously, the NFL would be a game changer, but I don't think that's going to happen. So of those three, which one?
That's going to be a lot of money.
Right. College football, basketball, baseball. Which one do you think they should go after?
Ooh. Realistically, I don't think they're going to get the NFL. The networks, AT&T or DirecTV, whoever, they're going to pay too big a bucks, I think. But probably baseball.
Baseball seems like a good option.
What was that?
Baseball seems like a good option. My only concern about that is that the average baseball fan is too old and too set in their ways of watching baseball on regular TV to try to get this app. You know what I'm saying? The demographic for baseball might be too old. But if you can get it, it's a great move for the zone.
Yeah, that's true because there's a lot of games for baseball. So, I mean, if they could, I don't know what they're going to be able to get the rights for. I mean, it's probably going to be slim pickings for them.
Hell, I mean, let's be honest. They don't even need to get, an entire MLB package deal. They just need to get one team. Just like the Dodgers, or the Lakers in LA.
Yeah,
you know this, Johnny, in LA, right? The Dodgers in LA offset their deals like Spectrum or something like that all the time and make their deals very exclusive to where it's very hard to watch these games.
Yeah, the blackout.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're DAZN, go after key teams and key markets. And just Gary, what were you going to say?
I would say teams with national fan bases. So the Yankees already have their own channel, so that's out for now at least. The Red Sox, the Cubs, or the Dodgers. If you can get one of those three teams, because there's fans of those teams kind of all over the country, I would say try to get one of those three. That would be a game changer.
And let me add, since they've gone after the Hispanic market so much with Canelo and stuff like that, Mikey Garcia, Dodgers. You gotta get the Dodgers. That'd be a game changer for DAZN if they just had one MLB team's rights, and that's 82 games a season plus playoffs. I mean, imagine if they had the rights to that. It's an insane amount of content.
Man, they get paid big money for the Dodgers.
But it would be worth it. It would be 100% worth it.
Oh yeah. Oh heck yeah. Oh yeah. If they give them the option for that, whatever they want, give it to them. One final thing I have for all three of you. Do you ever see a point at boxing going back to free TV, like big key players, or no?
Like CBS, NBC, all of them joining back into the fold?
Yeah. Not every single fighter, but like, let's say you were to get Joshua Wilder, undisputed. Could it ever, or not them two, just any other boxers in general? TV?
Not right now. Not right now. I don't see that. I don't see any major fight being free TV. And when we talk about major fights, we're talking about the Wilder age in the pay-per-view industry. Still to this day, I think DAZN hasn't really pushed that market like it should have or could have. I think it's going to be a long time before we see those truly big fights back on free TV. We got close, right, with like the Thurman Garcias or Thurman Porters to a degree, but I don't know if those ever became truly financially viable events like pay-per-view is, even though they had great viewership, 5 million, 3 million.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they
Thurman
really
Garcia, that was a good one.
Yeah, I just don't know if it's pulling in the right revenue like pay-per-view. And promoters, they think in a very short-term monetary way. And that's why we get fights ending up in weird locations and weird casinos because of money. So I think that's sort of the same mentality when it comes to free TV. And plus, I think, the CBSs, the NBCs, the Foxes of the world, they're good on what they have, right? Like Fox needed to supplant their lost UFC content, so they grabbed PBC. And that was a good little plug-in for all that UFC content they lost. So I think they're good on what content they have, what content they're putting on pay-per-view. I don't see CBS really ever reinvesting into the sport like they did in 2015 and 16. And NBC, I mean, they've given up on combat sports time and time again, so I wouldn't count on them at all. And ABC owns ESPN. So all of ABC's content that you would think would end up on ABC are just ESPN. That's their sports division.
I wanted to get on this. I'm kind of with Matt, but I'm kind of not, right? I would say the answer to your question is 50-50. If there was one network that was going to do it, it's Fox, right? And I think it would be more than 5 years out, so I don't think it would be A.J. Wilder, but let's say Dubois versus fill in the next great American heavyweight, right? Like that fight could be on Fox so it's going to go one of two ways. Either Fox is going to get an app comparable to what ESPN Plus or DAZN has, and boxing's strictly going to go the way of streaming. Like there's not going to be any more boxing on network television. It's all going to be on an app. Or they're going to give you more on free TV. Like big fights like they do with football and basketball, you're going to get those big fights on free TV. I think the cable TV model and the pay-per-view model is done. So it's only going to go in one of two directions, and I don't know which direction that is.
Gary, I agree that those two models will be done, but they're not done now, and they have enough longevity left in the tank that they're going to last the next 20 years.
I don't think 20 years.
I think you're lying to yourself if you think that you don't think TV is still going to be around and a powerhouse in 10, 20 years.
Sports on TV.
Yes.
He called Rob the Boomer, huh?
Called Rob.
Wait, what? I was doing some research. What?
Don't worry about Rob. I don't know. I don't know about that. I love the question, Johnny. We're gonna have to run. Great call.
Okay.
And call back again anytime, man. Really appreciate the insight and the questions you had. Always appreciate it, man. We're gonna run. It's late here. I know Rob is looking tired here. It's past midnight over there in the UK.
I was just doing some little research just as far as boxing on free TV in the UK. Back in the day, things like McGuigan versus Pedraza, 1985 drew 18 million viewers on BBC TV. Eubank Ben did 16.3 million on ITV. To think what maybe a Joshua fight would do on either BBC TV or I don't know, it'd be insane right now. But it's never going to happen, I don't think.
And I mean, go back to like Corey Spinks and Leon Spinks. They were pulling like 30 million plus on CBS. You know, they were pulling like modern day playoff NBA NFL game numbers. Boxing events were pulling that in the 80s. Easy.
Yeah, like, how can that not produce more than like 300 pay-per-view buys? You know what I mean? It seems insane, right?
That number will.
Oh yeah.
But those numbers, I think, are really hard to get to nowadays because in the last 30 years, both in the UK and in the US, the boxing market has been pushed more behind that giant paywall. And because of that, I think that's why you had this this gap.
Take a lot to get it back, right?
And I think there was a gap in boxing fans. I think that's why you had the boxing fandom age so much in the last, in the mid 2000s, let's say, because a lot of the young kids in the 90s, let's say, weren't watching boxing because it was behind a paywall. I wasn't when I was a kid. It was behind a paywall. Like I remember like being like 5 and 4 when we had the black box at the end and watching some events, right? But I mean, like snapshots of memory, right? Not real full vivid memories. Then it would take another 5 to 8 years before we really started watching boxing in our house again, because we had HBO and Showtime, and maybe we would watch the occasional HBO event, but my dad didn't really watch boxing, and all the big fights were pay-per-view. So it wasn't really that. It wasn't really the thing. But digressing, guys. Thank you for listening to the show, watching the show. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff. Listen on podcast form on iTunes. Drop that 5-star review. Write it out. Patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. Also check out our website, mixedcombatradio.com. Find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, on all social media platforms. Rob?
UK Rob, MCR, Instagram and Twitter. Just waiting for 2020 to really warm up. We can get these introductory Tanahara fights and stuff like that. Just bring people gently back into boxing.
For no reason.
January sucks, man. Let's be honest. This entire month sucks for boxing.
There was a reason, Gary. You made fun of me yesterday when I wasn't even here to defend myself. You're an opportunist. So yeah, expect the bigger fights to get made after we get broken in gently with this. These cards in January. So thumbs up, share the show, help us grow. We're doing all right, but we could be doing better. But like Matt explained today, if you haven't checked it out, this is basically a non-profit organization, and it's not easy. So just help us out, hopefully grow. And I know Matt always introduced the show with another daily edition of but it's clearly not daily. But if you rewind it, you can listen to it any day you want.
Facts right there, Rob.
Yep.
We have enough shows you can listen to a show a day all year.
Oh yeah.
That's how many podcasts we've done.
Hated. It might have, not make any sense anymore, but You
know what's funny? I see before we get to Gary, I see all these other weekly podcasts, right? Podcast episode number 20. And I'm looking at these fools like, you fucking little babies. You are nobody in these industry yet. You doing 20 episodes of a podcast? Wait till you do like 400.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're at like show number. I checked the other day. We're nearing show number 500 on MCR, and plus, me and Rob did God knows how many shows back on Name Redacted. We've done probably over 1,000 podcasts for no money.
I had hair.
Gary,
3D boxing. What?
Find me on all forms of social media at 3D Boxing, 3D Boxing blog. It was a good show today, except for Rob's quip for no reason at all. It was just a swipe for really, really uncalled for.
It was the best bit. What are you talking about?
No, it's a good show. Make sure to check out the Tanahara fight and let me know who you think is right, me or Matt, on how good Tanahara is. Again, find me all forms of social media, 3D Boxing, 3D Boxing blog, from Texas to the world. Thank you, and God bless.
Reminder.
Comment. Who are you picking in the big one? Hart versus Joe Smith Jr.
Yeah, do that. And reminder, no show tomorrow because I'm going to I'm going to clip out the shows and update the podcast feed. And then obviously no show Wednesday because, like I said, my kid's having a little surgery. So prayers out to the little one. And we will do a show Thursday or Friday whenever we have news. Probably Thursday, though, to be honest. I can probably do a Thursday show. But digressing, guys, be back whenever we are. Peace.